最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう俺さんできるスイカ
And next up on the list, we got the Rurouni Kenshin 2023 remake. How familiar? I'm curious to see how familiar you all with Rurouni Kenshin outside of the author.
I'm basically only familiar with the author.
Interesting.
Yeah, same. Well, I'm not even that familiar with the author. I know from like second-hand grapevine discussion that he was
sex offender registry.
Yeah, not
Well,
really.
it's a little bit worse than
really
sex
swell
offender.
pal.
Yeah, I'm aware.
More like possession of child pornography.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
it's
more
a little
like
bit
they
more
couldn't
than
even
that.
prove
It's
it. They just
possession-
assumed it because he had so much.
It's possession of over 100 DVDs of child pornography, and
they
was
raided his house
only $1,500 worth of yen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still employed at Shonen Jump making the Rurouni Kenshin manga to this day.
Well, I think they gave him a break,
Wait,
right, for like
what?
2 years, and then he came back.
Wait,
I
so hold
think
on. Is
so.
the Rurouni Kenshin manga still going?
No,
I
what
actually had no
happened?
idea.
What happened is the fan demand for Kenshin was so high that Shonen Jump was like, get back in here and work on it. So like if people didn't like Kenshin and said get that creep the fuck out of there, then he probably
Wouldn't
the-
continue.
He's
I get
essentially existing on the good graces and the fact that I guess
people
I
just
mean,
didn't give a
I
fuck that
wouldn't
children were straight
really
up sexually
even-
exploited.
You know,
yeah,
I don't.
they
I wouldn't
liked
even
Kenshin more than they were
necessarily-
sympathetic towards the children who were sexually exploited.
On that note, I would
Honestly,
find
I
it
wouldn't
kind of
even
morally disgusting to
necessarily-
financially support this series in any capacity.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah, 'cause
say
that money
I
probably goes to
blame
child porn.
the police far more, honestly, or whoever should have locked him up and for whatever reason did not, because I don't know
I
how
am
he is
incredibly surprised that all he
because-
got off with was $1,500 fine.
Yeah,
1,500 worth of yen.
Well, yeah, but
At the
Yeah,
time he was
I'm
arrested.
translating. Yeah,
and so
but like still, that's like only a month's pay on like a part-time job here.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I can see why someone would still buy it, because it's due to the apathy of, well, whatever I pay for, it's always unethical down the line, so might as well, indulge
Me
in a
when
series
I
of
I don't know.
porn.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's more
I
of
see
like
the
people are trying to
apathy,
separate
but-
art from artists, and like that's a sensible thing to do in
Yeah.
a lot of instances. But like with this, it's a little different from your favorite artist saying some cringy political take. It's like
I
this
think
is
the
a
big-
little different. It's a little
I
worse.
think the big difference of using the argument of all capitalism is unethical because someone's getting exploited. I think that's different because money directly went to the pockets of people who sexually exploit children.
I mean, I don't think the directness really has anything to do with it, because your money directly goes to awful people all the time. It's more a matter
I wouldn't
of-
blame
It's not the
people
directness
who
so much
still
as
continue to read the
But let's
Kenshin
say you
manga.
bought
and,
it's
like,
a
the
volume.
hierarchy of what you consider to be more morally reprehensible. Like, what is your limit of what you're willing to financially support, I guess.
But like,
It's
if you
like-
bought a volume, you know that like some of your money directly.
Yeah, and if I buy something
Well, I
from
don't know,
I
Amazon,
wonder
I
how many
know
people
it
don't
goes
know.
to Jeff Bezos, who has countless worker violations.
Yeah,
So it's not the
I used
directness
Amazon
that's
literally 2 days
the
ago, and I use
issue.
Twitter every day, so
Yeah.
I'm not exactly in a
Yeah, but I
position of
wonder,
moral high ground.
with this, the new Kenshin, I wonder if a lot of people have either forgotten or if like you get into a lot of new fans who just don't know about what the author did, and they're just like,
I think it's a
well,
pretty
what-
famous case because
I think it's pretty
it's
There are
literally
there are
the
far
most
more
famous
manga
case
authors
of
than
it.
there are shitty, creepy manga authors.
But this is like the most famous case of a shitty
Yeah.
creepy manga author.
yeah, because his manga is famous. It's one of it's a Shonen Jump classic since the 90s.
All right, here's I'm not sure if any of you know the answer to this, but do you know do you know how much money he's getting from this, or like if it's based
No
idea.
is he getting royalties, or did he
I
get
would
it all
assume
he still gets
upfront?
something.
Still royalties.
I imagine
Yeah.
he gets money from this. It's still
Yeah.
his property, pretty much.
I mean, I imagine there'd be some sort of, trade, but the reason why I ask is because I think financially supporting this series may be more morally complicated than some may gut reaction be inclined to believe, because your money is also helping pay the animators that probably didn't have much of a choice but to work on this show. You know,
Yeah, it's
some
like
people
the fucking
some people just
Harry
need
Potter
whatever
game that
work
came out
they
earlier this
can
year.
whatever work they can get. And so to me it's like on the one like this is subjective and probably differs from person to person, but to me the core question comes down to like is the moral bad of financially supporting this creep outweighed by the moral good of financially supporting animators?
He already made his fucking money.
Yeah.
What's a few more?
I mean, yeah, I see that outlook, especially with the fact that I line Jeff Bezos' pocket constantly in my own small way. Screw the system more than the individuals is what I tend to believe.
And to any Rurouni Kenshin fans in the audience who are upset that we're opening the discussion of Kenshin with what the shitty
There's
things
an
that the
elephant
author
in
did
the
as
room.
opposed to
We
the-
have to.
It feels
Yeah,
kind of
don't blame us.
unavoidable.
Blame the fucking author.
It's true.
All he
Yeah.
had to do was not buy child porn, or at the very least, not get caught with child porn.
No, don't say
It's
that.
not a
Even say
crime
that as a
until you get
joke,
caught.
Neon.
It's not a crime until you get caught.
Don't know about that one.
All right,
but
put
so
money
has
down.
anyone?
In this digital age, how many hard drives do you think he has right now?
Oh,
do you think he's
God.
learned his lesson? I doubt he's learned his lesson.
No,
Nothing
those people
happened
don't
to
learn
him.
their
I
lesson.
mean, of course he didn't.
It's true. Yeah. What is
They
their
He got
don't
learning?
arrested and he
They
got
learn-
fined $1,500. That's it.
No, what he learned is that 100 DVDs is easy to find. A hard drive you can hide.
That's true.
Because it wasn't any traces of money exchanging.
thought.
It was the thing itself.
I hope he's got a good VPN. That's all I can say.
Speaking of which, we'd like to introduce today's sponsor.
Yeah, one day.
Imagine.
One day.
All right, but actually,
Yeah,
for
listen
Kenshin,
in-
so like, have all of us? I can't remember what we said. Did any of us watch the old anime or read the manga?
Hell no.
Um,
Neon did.
In anticipation for this, because I was curious, because we've been getting a whole slew of remakes in anime for like the past
It's true.
few years.
Trigun, Urusei. Before that, other stuff.
Fruits
Oh
Basket.
yeah, Fruits Basket. Right.
Yeah, probably more that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, there's a lot more. I'm blanking.
Yeah, it's been a recent phenomenon like the last 5 years.
It's never gonna end.
Yeah, well, yeah, because now we're getting to the point where like we can't make a good new anime, so let's just remake some old anime that, at least in the case of shit like Fruits Basket, where if you watch the original Fruits Basket, it does look like amateurish dog shit.
Sad.
So it's now getting a proper anime adaptation. Or at least in you can even make the argument in stuff like Trigun Stampede, where it's a
Dog tier show. Hate it.
I was gonna say it's whether it's good or not. At least it's like it's wildly different enough in a whole different medium of animation to justify its own existence. Whereas this one is just your straight up remake. So
It's true, but
in
I
order
guess there's
to-
a reason for it being a remake. But I'll just, so like, did you watch any of the old '90s one or read any of the manga?
I watched after I watched the first episode of the remake. For
You went back.
for the podcast, I watched the first episode of the '96 anime by Studio Gallop, and I noticed something about it that outside of just the standard different animation quality whatnot. I noticed that the story was kind of differently structured. So to then confirm it, well, I took it one step further beyond. I went out online and I read the first chapter of the Kenshin manga, and the 2023 remake is going to be from what I can gather, pardon me, it's going to be a faithful adaptation of the manga, whereas the anime looks like it took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, that's basically kind of what happened. I haven't read the manga at all, but I watched pretty much all of the 90s anime. There's a section towards the end. So the 90s anime, it got all the way up until I think it's called the Kyoto arc. So I think it was about 60 episodes in. And then they kind of caught up to the manga. So they were just like, all right, what do we do now? and they decided to go the filler route. And I think the rumor, I don't know if this is confirmed or if people just say it, but basically they did like 20 minutes or 20 episodes of filler, and then the show kind of got canceled. And then after that, they made a couple of OVAs. One's like a prequel, and then another one has like an anime original ending. So I've seen all of that. And before anyone asks, I watched all this before I knew about that stuff. This was like 4 years ago, I think. I didn't really know, but once I heard about the author, I was like, oh wait, that was that guy. Oops. But
I feel bad for people who are pre-existing Kenshin fans who then had to have their version of manga 9/11 happen to them.
Yeah, because like I mean, I'm not gonna say that the '90s anime was amazing or anything. I would say I know people don't like it when you compare things that are old and versus new. But you know,
Compare,
new equals bad,
do
old,
it.
Old equals good. I think. And you watched episode 1 more recently than me. I haven't seen it in years, but I remember enjoying the earlier start of Kenshin more than I've seen the first 3 episodes of the new one, and I know that the older one is more goofy and it's less in line with the manga. I don't care that much about that sort of thing as long as it's still good. I'm not one of those people who is like you have to strictly adhere to the source material. I think sometimes the source material can like miss it. It can get something wrong. And I think with Kenshin, Kenshin as a character is a little more goofy in the 90s version.
Yeah, he's definitely a more lovable dope in the 90s one.
Yeah. I think his way of talking is more endearing, and I don't know. I liked him a little bit more. I think Kenshin's one of those shows that benefits from the 90s look the most. Like a lot of old anime, it's like, yeah, you could redo that and it would look pretty good in a modern kind of style. But with Kenshin, it's just such a 90s show. I'd almost argue, just like with Trigun, it's like so 90s that bringing it into the more modern style doesn't quite do it justice. So I do prefer the 90s version. I'm kind of curious about what's more close to the manga. But
definitely the remake is closer to the manga.
Right,
but
yeah. There's no context.
In terms of like story wise, but in terms of like charm, I would say the 90s Kenshin hand over fist is a much better experience than this remake.
Yeah.
The remake feels like in its effort to follow the manga so strictly, it kind of feels, and especially comparing it to both the manga and the 90s anime, it feels like they just took the 90s anime and sandblasted as much of the charm and personality off it that they could get away with while still keeping it Kenshin.
I was yelled at for saying the same thing about Trigun Stampede. I'm not gonna bring up Trigun Stampede every turn. I've moved on. I moved on.
Sure, you've moved on.
At least Trigun is like
I can respect it. If it didn't call
different.
itself Trigun, I probably wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. Most of my problems.
Well, here's the thing: it's calling itself Trigun Stampede. It's a whole different thing than
Yeah, but just you're
Trigun,
borrowing the
classic
characters,
anime.
you're borrowing the settings, and implicitly when in doing
Oh yeah,
that
but
kind
like
of story,
they're
you're saying the
changing
old
their
version of-
designs and like their appearances and
Well,
nothing.
they
even
didn't change it
medium.
good. I don't like the
Well,
changes.
at least they changed it, so at least that's like at least you can give them that. It's like it's different enough where the two can coexist, whereas this one is like just trying to be a straight lace adaptation of the classic manga, following the story beat for beat, not adding anything, not gonna dive into any filler, presumably.
No, I mean I
no reason
agree.
to.
I agree, but I think that's what people really wanted. A lot of people were unhappy that I know the guy himself. Was like,
This ain't no Rurouni Kenshin Brotherhood. If you expected
I
that, you're sorely
yeah.
mistaken.
Hey, I love 2003 more than Brotherhood. All right, I'll say it right here and now. But
Scum.
I just think if you're gonna borrow the name of the thing, I don't care if you do something different. I care that you do it to the same quality. It doesn't have to be beat for beat. It doesn't have to be like the exact same thing we're doing episode 1, like remade in full. But like it needs to feel. I'm using libtard logic here. I do not care about the facts. I care about the feelings. I need it to feel like the thing it's trying to be. And so with this one, with 2023 Kenshin, I don't know. I wasn't really getting into it. Maybe I've changed since then. maybe knowing what I know now, having it.
I implore you, go check. I know you said you watched it, like the whole thing before, but go back and watch the older, like the first couple episodes of the Kenshin anime. You'll be like, oh no, this here's what was missing: charm and soul.
Yeah.
Any semblance of charm and soul you see in the Kenshin remake is from like the OG source material, not from Light and Films themselves.
Right.
The nicest thing I can say about the Kenshin remake is that the character designs and the art is pretty good.
I thought
Like,
it was better than like what I was expecting. I think it stands out from other sort of generic seasonal shows. You know, it had its look. I don't think it was like the best look ever, but I do think it was like, okay, this is something that's like it's fun to look at the very least.
Yeah, but in terms of animation, like it's sad that we've come nearly 20 years no wait, not even 20, 30 years later,
Yeah.
and 90s one just looks better.
Yeah.
So I personally haven't experienced the 90s one. Although Neon has shown me a screenshot from it, and that one screenshot did have, at least to me, more soul in it than pretty much any expression from the remake. The remake is honestly like one of the best shows of the season, and that might be just because I don't have the original to compare it to, but I did have a really fun time with it. Although what I was hearing about Cultured Crusader saying that the original is a lot more goofy, specifically with Kenshin's character, was making me wonder if I'd prefer it, because
I really think you would.
He sounds like a more endearing character there. He feels very, I wouldn't say boring in the remake, but like there's
Here's something
not
that's interesting. Like
a
in
whole
the
lot of
90s version,
personality before it's revealed. Before his past is revealed, rather, he doesn't have a whole lot of charm or personality.
I can give you one example of a scene that will perfectly illustrate this point. In the remake, at the very beginning of the episode, where Kaoru is attacking Kenshin because she thinks he's the Batosai, and he's trying to like, dodge out of the way, and then he rolls around on the ground and like bumps his head on the side of a building.
Ooh.
Like that's kind of charming, but then you watch the 90s anime where the same scene happens, but he does this cool guy like flip into the air and lands on the roof of like a shack, but then he like it crumbles under his weight and he falls through it onto the floor and like crashes right through it, and it's he's like collapsed in a pile, and it's really charming. And like, it just shows how much more of a dope he is.
well, also I think they reused more like of the lower stakes characters, because like that guy who's the main antagonist of the first episode, the criminal going around like killing people at night or whatever. Like he in the 90s version, he comes back, I think maybe one or two more times. I can't remember how many times, but he comes back occasionally as like a guy who's still just like, yeah, I think it's in episode, I don't know, it might be a little after episode 10 or it's somewhere. He just comes back randomly, and then it's like he just gets beat again. But it's like they'll have characters just show back up again, and it makes the town feel more lived in. It makes the world feel more alive. This one, it just felt, I wouldn't say rushed, but it was one of those things where it's like you had more potential to do more with this stuff, and you kind of didn't do that.
The pacing is a lot. It's weird. It's in the 90s one. It's a lot more faster paced, and even though the plot is almost entirely different, where it has the same beginning and the same ending, but the whole middle part is entirely different. I'd still say that the Kenshin one, despite having a faster pace, is still better paced than the remake, which is following the manga beat for beat, which I guess shows how strong of an adaptation the Kenshin 90s anime is.
I think it was definitely a product of its time, when there were certain criteria you had to meet when making a show. Sometimes you had to stretch things out. Sometimes you had to create your own stuff.
Add little girl characters as OCs. You had to add it. Okay, here's why the remake sucks. The remake does not have a Kaoru bath scene. The 90s anime does in the first episode.
Well, you've sold me now.
It's also got a
anyway,
sumo wrestling episode in the 90s one, if that's more your thing. Full regalia, or I guess lack thereof.
You can't sell me. I'm still not gonna watch it.
Tragic.
Taking the remake just on its face. What do you think of the story of Kenshin?
Who, me?
Oh, I guess
just
for
in general, I
Keysmash and
think.
Crunchy, for those who I assume
Aren't
y'all
going to be
haven't seen
tainted
anything about
by
the older ones.
other material.
Listen, the way that I take it is if people were demanding Kenshin after that shit that went down, I'm sure it's good. I'm sure.
For them.
But for me, like, I just can't do it. I can't watch it without the lingering thought in the back of my mind. You know, those kids though.
I mean,
I just can't do it.
I won't pretend like it doesn't, like I don't, I guess feel kind of similarly. Probably not as strongly, but like, yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly wanting to jump into either version of it, but I mean, the plot does seem interesting though, of this guy who, committed all these deeds in his past and was like, basically a redemption story, a redemption that the author will never have.
Yeah, it's the appeal of Kenshin is both the action and the romance. Hence why the subtitle is like a Meiji romance story or something.
I didn't even know it had a subtitle.
Yeah, it's like Meiji. Let me pull it up on now. It's,
Meiji swordsman romantic story.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, no, it was, it's definitely got the love story angle. I always thought it was more interesting, like the Meiji part, because that's just a very interesting era in general. Seeing the change of Japan, getting more Western, but still, like you're in this era of like we just got out of all these long wars, and I guess I'm bleeding a little bit of the prequel OVA because I really love that OVA. It's a shame that it's attached to somebody that I don't like, but it's a really good OVA by Studio Dean, and like it's beautifully animated, and it's just like a very interesting era. And Kenshin as a character is, I think, people love him because it's like you have this manslayer, this guy who's killed countless people, and he's like a goober now who just wants to be left alone. He wants to believe a lie of yeah, we can just all live peacefully and be happy. Like he doesn't truly believe that, but he wants to believe that, and it's endearing. But again, it is still like, all right, this is bundled in a story written by a convicted pedophile. So what do you?
Listen, man, I was I was recommending a lot of people watch Oshiete Galko-chan because I liked it a whole lot, and then it came out that he was a pedophile. It's like, well, shit, now people are gonna judge me that I liked a thing so much and recommended so much that was secretly made by a pedophile the whole
when
time.
Nisio
Even though I
gets
couldn't
outed,
possibly have known that.
It is gonna
advocate
be
for pedophilia.
It's gonna be terrible.
Oh,
Nisi.
yeah. Yeah,
If
Crunchy's
Nisio
gonna have
listens,
full on
That would be
identity
my-
crisis.
I would be going through what the Rurouni Kenshin fans would
Yeah,
go
it would be
through,
like,
man.
no,
I
you
would.
can't do this to me, man. I coped so
Hours
hard
of my
for
life
you.
I've dedicated to making videos honoring his work.
I said you were the exception, man. I trusted the plan. It had a purpose thematically. Don't do this to me.
Don't even
Although in
tempt fate.
although
If
in
that
retrospect, if Nisio Isun was outed, it would explain a lot.
I
Given
no,
what
I don't want
happens in
to. I want to
Monogatari.
believe.
Don't
I want to
even-
trust the plan.
Don't even tempt it, man.
It explains a lot of scenes.
No, it doesn't. He's a very creative writer. who likes to
It
push
explains a
boundaries.
lot.
Yes, creative. That's the word.
As long
Oh, yeah,
as
but no,
I got
Kenshin-
plausible deniability right now.
Yeah, but Kenshin's a lovable goober. He's a wandering swordsman who talks like Yoda, carries a blunt sword with the cutting side on the
Yeah.
back, so he doesn't even
Reverse sword.
he ain't gonna kill people no matter. He's just gonna bonk him over the head with a sword, or even just beat him up with the hilt like he does in the 90s anime.
I mean, we brought up Trigun. I think it's interesting how like I don't know if there's any more shows or like if it was a phenomenon in the in the 90s where you have these characters with like tragic past that don't kill. They have a no kill policy now, like Kenshin, Bash. I'm sure there's a third example somewhere. I don't feel like you get too much of that anymore, unless I'm just forgetting big things.
I mean, I like the idea of a character that is completely opposed to murder, and this show does seem to be going deep into that, at least at a certain point, because the main girl character has her father came up with this way of the sword that, instead of using swords for murder, it's like, yo, we give life with these blades. And there was also a similar concept in Katanagatari. And Rurouni Kenshin is just like, yeah, that's dumb. You're stupid. Swords are made for killing. But you know what? I want to believe a lie. I want to get drunk on this fantasy. And
Yeah,
I think there's a
like that.
lot of commentary that could come from that.
I will say, this was in both all three versions of the Kenshin story, and I gotta repeat it here just because it's probably the most badass line I've heard this entire season, which is kind of cheating because it's from a '90s manga, but whatever. It's where after he beats up the big ninja thug man and like bashes him into the through the floor of the dojo, he says, "I have no attachment or remorse for the name Batosai, but even still, I won't let it pass on to the likes of you." Goes ridiculously hard.
I do agree.
The fact that he like threw away the lifestyle of the murderer that he used to be, but even still, he's like, even though I reject that person I used to be, I'm like, you're not worthy of inheriting my legendary murderer title.
Yeah, I just wish things could. I wish we were on a different timeline. Then we could enjoy the show more.
The last thing I want to bring up is just the middle part that I mentioned earlier. That was different between the 23 Kenshin and 96 Kenshin. Instead, in the 23 Kenshin, the remake, the old man who's the older brother of the faux Batosai sword man, they're trying to take the Kaoru's dojo from her with like getting her blood to essentially force her to sell it, the dojo to them so they could turn into whatever the fuck they want. In the 96 anime, there's this I like this version a lot better. That man doesn't exist anymore. It's just the sword guy, and he used to be a student of Kaoru's father, and he like even though their sword style was supposed to be used for give life to the sword and bring out the best of people, he was like, nah, you fucking retard. Swords are used for killing. They're used for spilling blood, and I'm gonna spill all the most blood that there ever was. But then Kaoru's dad was like, nuh-uh, and then hits him with a wooden sword on his dominant hand's thumb so hard that
okay, I remember that.
he fucks it up so irreparably that's like you'll never be able to you'll never hold a sword in this town again. So you'll never dishonor like the way of swords ever again. So he, in the 11 years since then, he trained himself to learn a sword with his left hand, and then got like as strong as he is now, doing all that shit. And then Kenshin, the way he beats him, he uses the blunt side of the sword to smash all the bones in his left hand. So it's like, now you'll never hold a sword in any hand again.
You see, that's what I'm talking about how sometimes changing the source material is actually fulfilling the spirit of the story. Like, that makes way more sense thematically. Or like, it's not that the other thing's bad, it's just that's better. Right, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure
it is missing the old Kenshin being such a monster that he makes the old man piss himself in fear.
I was when I saw that, I was like, did that happen in the 90s? I don't remember that.
It did happen in the manga. He did piss
okay,
the piss is canon.
I
gotta get up to date on the piss.
It ain't Rurouni Kenshin without the piss, let me tell you.
Not the old man piss. Well, what else is there? There's a moment in the 96 anime that is handled way better than they do in the 23 anime, where we see the last of Kaoru's students and the dojo. They quit, right? Like, they come up to her and they tell her that they're quitting because they don't want to be associated with the oh, fuck me. They don't want to be associated with the the dojo that teaches the sword style that the Batosai is using to go around causing all these crimes and murders. Whereas in the 23 and the manga, we're just told that, oh, I have no more students because they all left off screen. Yeah. It's like it hits a lot harder when they come up to her and we see like Kaoru kind of lose a little bit of her determination, but is still trying her hardest to maintain it. It's moral of the story, go and watch the 96. If you have to
Yeah.
experience the story that is Rurouni Kenshin, either check out the manga or I would recommend the 96 Kenshin anime.
Anything
I
else?
do
Any
not
other
have
thoughts?
much else to say, honestly. I enjoyed it in spite of everything. I thought it was a good
Yeah,
time.
I think Light and Films was a bad choice for the remake.
They don't
the
have
animation and the action scenes is not up to snuff.
I don't know, because I like Bastard that they did, I guess, a year ago now. I think it was like a Netflix exclusive, but I thought that one looked fine. I thought they probably could have done it, but just didn't. I just assumed it was like a
maybe we
nostalgia
should
thing
have
for me. I just
piled
love
this
the
onto the never-ending IP gray goo of Mappa.
90s. Mappa.
Yeah, give Mappa
Yeah, give Mappa a shot, why
everything.
not? Who cares? They don't need to sleep.
What's another? Honestly, the KyoAni wouldn't be the worst idea for this. Like the action scenes aren't crazy enough that it wouldn't be outside their wheelhouse, and
Kyo
it's
Annie
like
from Rurouni. Really? That's a
Yeah,
weird.
I think it could work. I
choice.
think it could work.
That is a weird choice to me.
Because the thing about Kenshin is that it does, from what I've been told, it gets when like the villains of the story show up, especially like I don't know if y'all ever seen his design, because he's like one of the legendary Shonen Jump villains because he just has such an awesome design. Shishio, he's like the bandage dude where he's like hair sticking out of his bandages. He's got like a spine sword or some shit.
He's got a loyal woman, doesn't care about the scars. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, but like, when's the last time KyoAni did anything that wasn't a slice of life? Your hint is never.
Wait, what about Full Metal Panic?
That was a while ago, though.
How?
Yeah.
Okay, Full
Wasn't that
Metal.
2000?
Like late 2000s.
Was it late 2000s?
I want to say they did. I think they did several seasons of Full Metal Panic.
Yeah, you might be right.
I don't know. I feel like
No,
the
I think they
action
did something after that. Actually, I'm trying to remember.
The action doesn't have to reach like Dragon Maid levels of like, hey, we'll bust this out occasionally just to show that we can. Like, it doesn't have to hit that high, but I feel like they could have done it better than Light and Films, and they could have made it just as pretty, if not more.
Kyoto Animations did Full Metal Panic 2005.
No, but they
also did Beyond the
Kyokai
Boundary.
no
It had
Katana,
action in it.
I didn't watch it, but I saw a little bit of it.
It's not good, but
Oh, tragic.
they could have done it.
Beyond the Boundary. But isn't that like an urban fantasy show still?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still like within the general tone of like it taking place in the real world, I guess.
Hey,
I mean, Kenshin
Meiji
takes
period
place
was
in the
a
real world. It just
yeah,
Okay,
it just takes place in the
way
past.
back when. Oh no, it just seems really far removed from anything Kyoto Animation.
I don't know. I can see
Absolutely.
KyoAni bringing
Anytime
the
soon.
Kenshin environment to life.
I mean, they could bring anything to life, I'm sure. It just doesn't seem like their type of show. You know, I have no doubt that Kyoto Animations could bring out a fucking horror show if they wanted to. It's just that it's not what Kyoto Animations would do, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, fair.
Well, do you think KyoAni could have brought out more life in The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses than our Lord and Savior's at Gohan?
Are you kidding me? Gohan, you think any studio could have done a better job with the source material than our Lord and Savior Gohan's? This is Gohan cinema. This is peak fiction.
Our baboon peasant minds are simply not evolved enough to understand their god tier directing.
I
I did an
did not understand
experiment
exactly.
with this. So I watched the first half of the episode and took in all the directing. Then I came to a realization, an experiment, if you will. Is this show more entertaining if I take off my glasses and can't see anything? And so for the rest of the episode...
how many people here actually wear glasses?
I do.
Yeah, I have terrible eyesight.
I do. I just don't wear them often. I only
Okay,
wear them
we
to, like,
all
the
wear
movie theaters.
glasses.
Literally
here,
all
then.
of us.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
We all have bad genetics.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
I
Oh,
took
yeah.
off my
No,
glasses.
I had good
and
genetics.
to
I just fucked up my eyes by looking at screens for a majority of my life.
Skill issue.
No, I
But,
just have bad genes.
yeah,
and
I
look
had
at
to
screens.
squint just as hard as the girl was to read the subtitles, and then everything else was just vague blurs that I could not decipher.
You had to literally like put your face directly millimeters away. You had to
No,
put it on
it wasn't
your
that.
computer
It wasn't
monitor.
that. If I had to go that far, it would.
It's not as exaggerated as
At
bad
that point,
eyesight is
bitch, get
presented in the
LASIK
show.
if you can't see without your glasses that bad.
I'm sure it wasn't as exaggerated as this show presents bad eyesight, which is a little more
She
than...
has.
I think she's just
comically bad
retarded. I'm not gonna lie to you.
eyesight.
There's a
like,
certain mental
for
deficiency
those
that's going
who
on.
don't need to wear glasses, guess what? You can still see things without them.
Okay, I mean, okay, so you
She
can
mistook the
see-
dude for her own
Depends on
father.
how bad your
Yeah.
eyesight is.
So, I'm
Like,
speaking
if
as
your
someone
eyesight
who
is
can
as bad as
literally
hers, where you have to, like,
barely
get that close.
see without my glasses. Like, I used to be able to see kind of okay without them, but as time has gone on, my vision has gotten worse, and I've needed continually updated prescription.
Oh, same. I need a new prescription
because
because my eyesight got worse.
Yeah, I've been playing
so-
too much Crusader Kings.
So,
at
like,
1 in the
if I
morning.
take off my
Not good for your
glasses
eyes.
right now, I am, like, not even that far from my computer screen. I cannot make out a single word on it. If I
Same.
squint, I
Yeah, but
can
words are different than
kind
faces.
of
Like,
see...
Yeah,
I
I can
refuse to
see
believe she's 1 millimeter from his
Castaway.
face.
You can
and-
still look at a bowl
can't
and
make out
say,
the other
yeah, that
word.
shit is full.
I hate,
like, you see big-
I hate to spoil the twist because I don't know if y'all.
I only
if
watched the
two of
first
y'all
episode.
I watched the second.
I watched the first
first.
episode too. I just know this because I follow a guy named Kikazu who runs the Anime Safe Space podcast. He tweeted about this as the girl is forgetting her glasses on purpose after a while because she's just using it as an excuse to get closer to the guy.
Also, if you wear
Interesting.
glasses, guess what? You're not forgetting that shit. If your eyesight
Yeah.
is that bad, you're wearing that shit 24 every waking moment.
Excuse the show gives is that she's, one, really forgetful, and two, broke them.
Okay,
Admittedly,
breaking
I've
them
had...
is
Yeah.
real, but forgetting them when your eyesight is that bad, no, you don't.
But she's really airheaded. Although, here's the thing, here's
Women
my
do, right?
issue with that conceit, is that it would have been so much easier to have been like, I lost them. Because that's actually something that's happened to me. Because way back in the day, when me and my brothers shared a bedroom, we'd all put our glasses on the same... Well, me and my other brother who needs glasses. My other brother does need glasses, but just doesn't wear them for whatever reason.
I respect
he
that.
just hates them. But we both would put our
That's stupid. He's stupid.
glasses on the same
Nice, Brett.
dresser. And so sometimes, for whatever reason, I guess people, like using the dresser to, put different things on it. It was kind of a cluttered mess too. Sometimes, you wake up in the morning, you can't see anything because you don't have your glasses yet. You try to look for them. They're not where you put them. They fell off, so you check the floor, you scan it for like 10, 15 minutes. Oh, I can't find them, and now I need to get ready for school. That has happened to me before.
I still think she's retarded.
She is, but that's the canon explanation. That is the
This
actual
show is, like,
canon explanation.
Trying to go after such a weirdly specific fetish of a
Oh,
girl
yeah.
who wears glasses that forgets them, so
I
she looks
mean-
pissed, but is actually just
No, yeah,
squinting.
we've
Okay,
moved
my-
past the eyeglasses fetish, and now we're entering just like bad
Well,
eyesight. in general.
okay.
Listen,
here's
you don't
the thing,
find it
Neon.
really hot
it's not
when
that
a
we've
girl
moved
looks
past
at you
it. It's
with
that we're
disgust.
entering different subgenres within this one folder.
Well, see, Neon, I'm gonna have to push back against this for a second because I actually completely understand it and, in fact, buy into it. Not from a fetish perspective, believe it or not. It's
Interesting.
because it's
Let 'em cook.
cute. It's because the idea of, these two...
All right, congratulations. That is exactly what they were
It's-
going for, and you are falling for it.
Nah,
Well, yeah, it is supposed to be cute. And
it's supposed to.
yeah. At least the
Do
idea
you not
of, like,
find
oh,
it hot
she,
when a
she
girl looks
can't-
at you with disgust?
I
It's
have
not-
a note
it's
here.
Not hot. None of
I think it's
nothing
See,
in
that would
this
require
show is
girls to
hot.
look at me.
Okay, I have this friend who, like, all throughout high school and even now to this day, fucks with this girl that we know because he gets off to that look of disappointment and disgust that she gives him.
That's some king
is-
shit.
Oh yeah,
That's the absolute state of the Western man.
I mean,
Can he be saved? Unlikely.
I mean, get you a girl who will look at you with disgust.
See,
Why?
that's not the thing for me though. It's none of it is anywhere close to sexual to me. It's the cuteness of this boy like leading a girl through the day and be like, okay, like I'll help you with these basic things because you can't see. You know, it's sort of
Because
like
you a
this
basic
reliance.
bitch.
Got him. Wrecked. No
It's
recovery.
cute.
Now, see,
So
I want to like it to
speaking-
be
so
like.
you're not into the so Crunchy, you're not into the like the look of disgust. You're
No.
into the idea of helping a girl who's so helpless that you have to like
Oh, okay, well,
be like
hold
the
on,
living
you're-
life partner.
Foot
I
binding energy
feel
right
like you're adding in a few words that I may disagree with.
2 steps removed from just throwing bleach into her eyes.
Speaking of bad eyesight and squinting, while watching this, I was reminded of a doujin called The Girl in My Blurred Vision,
Oh no.
Interesting.
where a girl is squinting because she has just that bad eyesight, even if she's wearing glasses, and she gets on a date and doesn't realize it's a girl. Then they fuck. But, it's not
Does
here
she
nor
realize
that.
that part?
I want to read that more than I want to
Oh,
watch the
yeah.
show.
She realizes
imagine.
and it's like, I'm not in the girls, but then, the other one forces herself on top of her.
Oh.
Okay, well now I really want to read it.
Yeah, I can link it.
Disavow.
Yeah, I can link it. I got the link.
But the
Yeah,
real
but does it
thing
but
that-
are the manga composition of the panel the composition of
Yeah,
the
how's the
panels
art?
as
it's
inspired
right there.
as
I'm not
is it
gonna
as
look.
inspired as the directing of this show?
I mean, when was this
inspired
shit made?
is one way to put it. I
I
would
don't know when this thing was made.
So
It's hard to tell.
honestly, although the directing and camera work is terrible in certain bursts, and there are tons of elements about this show's visuals that I hate, the one that offends me the most is the color design. The color design in this show, and also in Gohan's other show, might I remind you, is atrocious. It is the ugliest color palette I have seen in a show in
I
a
wouldn't say
while.
ugly. I would say
It is
inconsistent.
awful.
You don't like the PS3 360 first person shooter era color palette that
Makes
they
me
use for their
nostalgic.
shows?
No, if
I
you want
missed
that
the pic-
color
It
palette, you go play
always
the
looks like sunset.
Valkyrie profile. Covenant?
It can.
What the fuck game is that called?
Well,
Excuse me?
you're trying to remember that. I have to point out that many of the scenes in this show take place during midday. It looks like it's 6 o'clock and the sun is setting.
Yeah,
It's called Style, dude. Maybe you want to look into
Yeah,
it.
it's very important that we always see dust particles floating around the entire of the characters at all times whenever they're indoors because it lends to the realism.
See,
True.
I don't even. The thing is, the style they're going for with the sort of
Valkyrie
realistic...
profile Lenneth. That thing looks like fucking drywall.
If it looks anything close to this show, I absolutely agree with you. And
It's just gray.
the thing is, to use an example, I know everyone's gonna laugh at me for this because it's another Monogatari example, but Kizu Monogatari literally
Beautiful.
has this style, but good. It's very brown, but in an appealing way, right? It actually goes all in on the brown to where it's not like. And the other thing too is that show took place, or that movie rather, took place entirely at night, so you didn't have to deal with it being midday and then but it looks like way later in the day than it should be. It's like, no, it was all at night. It doesn't really matter. And that show went hard on the color palette and went hard on the camera angles and the CG backgrounds and made it all work. This show doesn't make it work.
You know what it reminds me of? It's kind of like what we were talking about off the record a couple days ago about boosting retention in videos. Because unironically, when that opening just walking sequence unfolded, I genuinely could not look away. I had no idea what I was looking at. I was so dumbfounded that I ended up watching the show. And I just
is
and, like
it
they
the
did the same
anime
thing.
equivalent of
Really,
Mr.
no,
Beast
literally.
saying, "Hey guys, today we're gonna be."
Unironically, I think because
I'm
they
tied
did that
to a
for
bunch
this.
of explosives. I'm gonna die any minute. That thing.
yeah, they did it for this one. They did it for the Masterful Cat. Like, it's the same walking, like long shots, just very weird. Like it was like
from shot from the floor up
from
so
the
you can
floor.
see,
Yeah,
the
I didn't
weirdest
like that
angle I've
camera
ever
so the
scene.
seen.
characters are stretched to fuck.
Do
That
you know what?
Just
Here's the thing.
why?
Fisheye lens does not work in anime because then you get shit like episode 14 of Evangelion where you get that
Lovely.
picture of Rey.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but I can at least
Yeah,
see a context
cinema.
where that would be kind
Yeah,
of
fisheye
okay.
lens in
Unsettling.
anime only works for making you uncomfortable. I've never seen it done well.
I'm
Like,
made uncomfortable
done
by
to
this.
make
I'd
it
argue
not
what you just
uncomfortable.
posted is
Tension.
what's done well.
I mean, there are some fisheye lenses that I can think of that have been done
Kaguya-sama.
well in anime.
Yeah, Kaguya.
Yeah, that one had a good
I'm thinking
one.
of the Shirogane shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's a
that
good
one's
one.
brilliant.
But were they made
this
to make you look?
one-
Were they made to make you feel like, oh, what a pretty show? Like, no, that is
No,
not
it was
made.
used
Well, no,
for
but that's
comedy.
not the point of it, though. It's
Oh,
like
no, I
saying-
get,
so
I
it
get what
was
he's trying
used
to say.
wrong
They're,
in this
they're
show,
trying
is what
to
I'm trying
use
to
it
say.
to make it look pretty.
Yeah.
oh, is that what they were doing? Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
See,
I really,
my big
I was just confused the whole
question-
time.
My big
What am I
question while
looking at?
watching this, confusion, because it's like, why? The Vlesky clip, he made a video about this first episode, and the clip that flashed into my mind constantly while watching this show was, for the what purpose, with his Indonesian accent, beautiful Indonesian accent. Just over and over, like, what's the purpose of any of this? Because
Yeah,
it's all
I felt
and see, Shaft also has like a bunch of visual style apropos of nothing, but in Shaft it looked good. You know, like, you can have a lot of visual style, and even visual style for seemingly no reason, if you just make it click, if you give the show an aesthetic that actually does something to make it look pretty. But this show just looks fugly.
Yeah, speaking of that, I think you could pull it off well, but I do not think that this show pulls off like 2D characters on a 3D background. You can see them sliding.
Yeah, you can see them jitter and slide.
It looked
and
jank.
You can see they use some AI interpolation at parts, and it just looks whack.
Yeah, like every time they try to go for something like a dynamic camera movement, it's like, sure, fine, I can find that idea cool in concept, but in execution it just looked off.
Did anyone laugh their ass off when it looked like the main girl, Mie, I think her name is?
Who
Did anyone
cares?
laugh their ass off
Glasses
when it
girl.
looked like she got ran over by a car and disintegrated into dust?
Honestly, I don't even remember.
You don't
Yeah,
remember
neither
that?
do I.
It was during the intro where the guy's like dreaming about the girl, and then the
That's what he
snap
does.
back to reality is him seeing a car ahead of him, but it looks
Oh,
like
I do
Mie
remember
got
that.
ran over,
Yeah.
and I just died laughing.
I'm trying to figure out. I have a note here, and I think it's like halfway through the episode. She like doesn't know what her shoes are, forgets her shoes or something. I don't.
Yeah,
I
she
just
doesn't
have,
know where her lockers are. and
I
she's
just have a
putting
note that
on-
says, "Give me my shoes back, whore," and I'm trying to figure out why I read it. Oh, she take his shoes?
Oh yeah, she took his shoes.
Yeah, she
that's why.
goes in
Okay.
his locker thinking it's hers.
Right. Okay. Well, that explains that.
And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
man,
disgusting.
these
Don't
shoes
wear
are
my
too
shoes."
big. I wonder why. Did I just shrink? No, you're just fucking dumb.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
I
do not
yearn
want
for
other
the
people wearing my
version of
shoes.
this show with a bright poppy color palette that is directed competently. Because I
One
feel
where
like
the
this
characters'
show-
eyes don't look like they have entire universes inside
Dude,
of them.
it's the what's it called? Shikimori.
Shikimori?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Shikimori eyes.
Didn't watch.
It's exactly what I
Yeah.
hated about Shikimori eyes.
Shikimori was tame compared to this.
I mean, I hate them both equally, honestly. I know you're the only Shikimori defender left on Earth after everyone else already realized that that show is garbage. But hey, die on your hill, whatever. I think that
I
both
want a
eyes look
cool,
terrible.
strong, pink-haired girl.
Cool, I don't. This show is what I would call fake cinematic. It tries really hard to be cinematic and cool and beautiful.
It's
And-
like if you took all of the transitions and effects in Premiere and just threw them all in
Yeah.
without any like rhyme or reason.
Yeah, I just
thinking,
described
like,
it as like overproduced.
But
Yeah,
my
overproduced, he feels
thing
more accurate.
is you can make certain shows cinematic and give it glimpses of it, and it does often look cool, stuff like Tengoku Daimakyo. But for this show, You're just a slice of life show, my dude. Just
Stay in
do
your
slice
lane.
of life directing.
Just know your shit and be shit in the corner.
There.
But see, in acknowledging that, it would cease being shit more than likely. It wouldn't be anything special because this show's script is like, it's serviceable. It's like mildly entertaining. If this show had good directing, I'd give it like a 6, maybe a light 7 if it improved in the later episodes.
But this is most certainly a go read the manga forehead type of show.
Yeah.
No, this is
It's-
go read a better romance.
Well,
Honestly,
also
I didn't really care for another shy guy getting hit on by a.
I'm so fucking sick and tired of that shit.
Yeah,
We'll get to that
it's-
later.
I
When are we
wish-
getting when are we getting shows about Chad guys hitting up,
Yeah, exactly.
chatting up with Chad girls?
I-
Just have
I-
a Chad relationship.
just have
I
a
think
Chad
the
relationship.
show would have been better if it wasn't the girl I like forgot her glasses, but I stole the girl I like's glasses or something like that. And the guy is just a psychopath who is like, he has a fetish for the squinty eyes, and every episode
Maybe he
is
has a
just
fetish
him.
for punching women.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
call it, I
Every
want
episode-
to punch women.
Every episode is just him trying to figure out how to get rid of her glasses. Or like he'll break in a locker room and he's not trying to be pervert, but like a pervert. He's just trying to steal her glasses and get out. And like
Well, I
it
mean, he is
culminates in a
being a
season.
pervert if that's
crazy.
what he's
yeah,
into.
a pervert in that sense. But like the season finale culminates with him like just looking her dead in the eyes, taking the glasses off of her face and stomping them on the ground, and then like that's the finale. That's the money shot. I think
I would
would've
watch
liked
that shit. That sounds awesome.
That is amazing.
All right, we're taking that shit to Kickstarter.
I think we could probably get some money for that.
I'd pay for it.
But would y'all pay for more Liar Liar?
No.
I just thought all the acting was so overacted.
So
Uh,
my
I just thought
main-
the characters' personalities were
Just like
insufferable.
all the
characters
movements, all the
suck.
expressions, and everything that was being said just felt so over exaggerated.
so
Also, the character designs are ugly as sin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know.
Especially in the courtroom scene.
I honestly quit this episode very early on, and the reason
How
why
are we talking?
is
30 seconds?
because
A minute?
so I got to the scene where the girl loses the staring contest. First of
Okay,
all,
nice. Yeah, okay, that's staring
I'm
contest
gonna
bullshit.
send to you a screenshot right now. I want
Uh-huh.
you all to look at this screenshot. I'm finding it and tell me. All right, is this an emotion?
Yes.
Oh shit, that's not Jim Carrey.
That happened like
He is
15 different times
emoting.
in the staring contest.
Okay.
For both of them.
So the entire
what the fuck?
For reference, the entire premise of this staring contest is that the first person to either blink or emote during their 1 minute turn loses. You are supposed to keep a poker face. And you can do whatever, blink however much you want, make whatever faces you want when it's not your turn because you're trying to get your opponent to react. First of all, my first thought was, just whip out your cock, bro. She'll blush. She's a tsundere. I know with my trope knowledge that she would not be able to survive that. Sure enough, the expression she does make is blushing. Bro,
Yeah.
this scene could have been over in 10 seconds, my guy. And I would have actually finished the episode if that was the twist. That would have been actually pretty funny. But
Are you telling me that this is not the 1997 Jim Carrey movie Liar Liar?
I genuinely
I
forgot
am
that existed.
telling you that.
Shit, did I watch the wrong thing?
Definitely want something better.
Probably.
Yeah, you probably.
But the second
Isn't that the
thing
movie
is-
where the kid like wishes that his dad couldn't lie
Damn
anymore?
right it is, and he's a fucking scumbag lawyer.
Well,
Oh,
bit
oh
redundant.
yeah.
But it's also the
Okay,
era where Jim
I-
Carrey was overacting super hard.
I
Yeah, that's fine
wasn't.
when
I
Jim
haven't
Carrey
seen that movie, but I've seen a clip of it from church of all places because they're using it to for whatever sermon they were doing.
Nice.
And I remember losing my fucking mind in the church when I saw that clip because I thought it was the funniest shit I'd ever seen at the time. Because it was given like no context outside of the clip of the kid wishing that's like making the birthday wish on the cake and being like, I wish my dad wouldn't lie anymore. And then it immediately cuts to like everyone like as an elevator door is opening as he's walking out and everyone's holding their breath and he's just like holding in all of his all of the emotions. He's like, it was me, and I remember losing my mind.
Okay,
Great
I
meme you
did
just
watch that
posted, by
movie,
the
but I
way.
also did watch the first episode of this show for real. The one thing I noticed immediately going in is that, even if the show is shit, and guess what? It is, at least the music is being done by Studio Monaka.
I do not remember any music.
No,
from
no,
this
no.
show.
You know Studio Monaka, you just don't know the name. Studio Monaka famously did the music for all the Nier stuff. Keiichi Okabe is close with Yoko Taro. They did the music for Tekken. They also did the music for Monogatari.
Wait, they.
Huh.
Oh, now I am. Well done. You say studio whatever it was called. So like.
Monaka, Monaca.
Yeah, Monaka. But is it like a bunch of people working at it that did the music for Monogatari? Because I know different people made the soundtrack over time.
Yeah, well, Monaka had I think mostly in Bake, but they definitely had a
so
role.
they're the
best
people
one.
who did Bake and Kizu, and I think Nisei as well.
Best, I think
Yeah.
also did
Bake,
Nisei.
Kizu,
They
and
did a
Nisei.
bunch of the early stuff for Monogatari.
Yeah, and then after that, it's some other dudes who gradually took the soundtrack in their own direction.
Yeah, so
yeah, if
guess
they're-
what? Even if even if you don't give a fuck about the show, just listen to the soundtrack. It's gonna be good.
I might actually listen to parts of it now that you said that, because Monogatari has one of, if not my favorite.
They also
soundtrack
did
from an anime.
Scorching Hot Ping Pong Girls or whatever the fuck that show is called.
That is
Yet
getting
again,
really
bad show,
obscure.
good music.
My main issue with this show is that, okay, so mind games, I'm gonna say this up front, coolest thing ever, in theory. Like, outsmarting your opponent, using logic to outget them, badass. Now,
Going
they
full
are
Ben
in
Shapiro
high
mode.
schooler, they are high schoolers, and they are doing it in high school, which immediately starts to, raise an eyebrow. But what I was thinking going into this show was, this is going to be Cypher Academy but lame. Because Cypher Academy is cool as hell. I
was gonna say this
chapter.
is battle game in 5 seconds, but worse.
I mean, God, I have vague memories of Battle Game in 5 seconds. But the entire premise of Cypher Academy, I've only read the first chapter, but I really want to read more of it and probably do a review of it. And the first chapter, sets up all this stuff about the world and characters, and it makes you immediately buy into the idea that it's all just cool. They're a bunch of students at this school for cryptography. Cryptography is cool as a concept, but they're also doing it because the schools believe they're training them essentially to use cryptography in war. And so the students are using literal war tactics to eventually get their aim of getting rich, because there's like some Bitcoin vault, too complicated to explain right now. But the point is, they're using like cryptography, which is just cool on its face, and using it for like they've been trained for an important purpose. But for this show, nothing within the first like up until I dropped off, nothing convinced me that it would be anything more than very basic mind games that high schoolers would play on each other. This one wasn't even a mind game. It was just, wow, the sprinkler went off and now I'm blushing. And the dude should have lost. The dude totally lost. That is absolutely an expression.
He should have handed over his star chips so he'd be kicked out of battle.
Hand over his Stellas right now.
Never become the Yu-Gi-Oh world champion.
But like,
Joey Wheeler.
See, what makes it even more infuriating is that the girl, when she loses, when she blushes, has to yell out, "Stop looking at me! Oh my god, stop looking at me!" Yeah, because with an over the top blush, because we just have to know that she emoted, even though the guy literally like 30 seconds ago.
Well, that's what we have to know, because we don't know what
totally
counts
emoted.
as emoting.
Listen, how are we supposed to know if a girl is cute if she does not blush?
How are we supposed to know
know?
she's cute if she doesn't scream out at the top of her lungs, "Stop looking at me"? Another thing
Listen,
that
I
I
don't
hate
want a
about
girl
y'all.
screaming
I'm not
at your
into women
dick.
who don't scream.
See, the characters in this show
Just
are
gonna
so
let that one
obnoxious.
hang out there.
The characters in this show are unbelievably obnoxious. Like this girl, she's okay. So she's a tsundere. You can tell that literally based off of her design. I knew when she was acting nice that she was a tsundere. That's how you know the designs in this show are terrible. And sure enough, I guess like she's leading him to the school, and then the sprinkler goes off, and she's like, "Oh, you set this up from the beginning. It was your plan all along to embarrass me, and now you're what, gonna take advantage of me?" Which I don't know what the logic is from the sprinkler to bad touch. I don't get it. Is it
Well,
because
she's
it
soaked, and
showed
there's
her
the
bra?
implication.
She is unbelievably
The implication.
stupid. She is just dumb.
Yeah, the world
She's-
isn't done
Yeah,
with
at that
Asuka
point, she was
XPs,
asking
and
for it.
especially bad Asuka XPs at that.
It's just, she's so obnoxious. This entire opening fight, or I guess staring contest rather, is based off of some stupid misunderstanding that only occurred because this tsundere started blaming him for
This
nothing.
dumb bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
This silly, silly woman clearly did not read the Book of Timothy, which tells women to be quiet.
Just
Not
say
good.
bitch. We all know you want to say bitch.
I mean, I don't want to berate them any more than
Say
Or
it.
woman
Say
already
it,
does.
coward.
They
Call her
can't
a bitch.
berate themselves anymore
Be a
than they berate
misogynist.
themselves on
We
a
all know you
day-to-day
want to be.
basis.
I wouldn't, because dogs are loyal. And okay. So stopping. We're stopping. Yeah, show sucks.
Yeah, but in doing so, he gains the legendary red ship, which allows him to tell one lie.
Yeah.
As I get, and he tricks the whole world into thinking that he's actually the legendary 7-star player, and he's the best at games. Also, what constitutes a game in this world? Can I just can I challenge like a top rank like 7-star to a game of Smash Ultimate?
Probably.
Is that a thing I can do?
Probably. Based on the
You could
rules
challenge
given,
into a game
probably.
of I Spy? Who knows? Guess so.
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100.
69.
Damn it.
The fastest one who comes
Stars.
loses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is this the No Game, No Life season 2 that we've got now? We don't have to wait anymore? It's here?
I don't know. Crunch, you're the biggest No Game No Life fan I know. Is this a worthy successor?
It is absolutely not. No.
Hey, can you cut that
See-
last part out? Just end it on absolutely.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, just stitch a
But-
bunch of his syllables to make him say whatever you want.
It's true, you have that power.
Exactly. No,
It's not that hard. I've
use
done it
AI.
Good.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
no, you
hours
got
of
enough of this
podcast
voice
content.
sample,
You
actually.
can absolutely make an AI of me to say whatever heinous shit you want.
It's
But,
not that hard.
Yeah. No Game No Life is like this show, but more aware. I mean, I guess the main character is. I can't really get a good grasp on how self-aware this show is. It doesn't seem to be extremely self-aware, at least in terms of its character's likability.
The answer is not.
Yeah.
I'll just give you
No,
that.
I think it's like it's going halfway. It doesn't want to commit to it. Because I really thought, and I think it would have benefited from just making the MC like actually so dumb he never does anything and just keeps winning. But it doesn't want to go that far, so it'll actually have him like do some stuff and make some comments and try to say like, oh, he kind of knows what's going on. He's kind of smart. I say just make him like a full on tard and just have him win by accident.
Well, see, in No Game No Life, it was kind of similar in the sense that Sora and Shiro had heinous and deeply stupid and flawed personalities. They were hikikomoris in their old life, and so if you take them apart, they chronically need each other. If they are separated for even a second, they will literally regress into just goo. They will not know what to do. They are nothing without each other, and that makes them endearing. They're immoral and assholes and very self-centered, very self-assured, and their personality, you could take down their personalities in myriad ways. But the one thing they do have is intelligence. And it was through the silliness of Sora and Shiro's personalities that No Game No Life could do this very tricky balancing game of, on the one hand, making them super smart and win all the time, but on the other hand, being, have this level of self-awareness of like, yeah, these people are dumb. And so if they ever do something that that the audience thinks, well, oh, they could have gone about that a better way, well, all of a sudden, you can just say, well, they're also idiots. It helps keep the show, it helps you buy into the kayfabe of how smart they are for them to be also, to also have these flawed personalities. But here, it's like, they're just obnoxious. They're just really, really grating. And so it's like, I don't have a good sense of how cool exactly the show thinks they are.
Yeah, I don't think the show was trying that hard.
Well, clearly.
One might say it's not trying.
I was
at
being
all.
generous. I wanna
Don't
believe.
be generous. No one asked you to be generous.
Well, maybe I was liarine.
Roll the credits.
I'm ending my life tonight.
It's not the worst premise I've ever heard of for a show, but I think it's just executed in the lamest way
Yes,
possible.
I love
With
the
the
idea of
lightsabers
mind
and the
games.
characters.
Death Note is like the coolest show. But
It's also well written.
well, yeah, yeah.
Crunchy, there's a show that you'll probably adore called Kakegururi.
I've
the
heard
girl who gets
things
off
about
on gambling.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. I do have
Doesn't
to
that
check
show
it
the
out
Jav
someday.
parody?
Don't
A
answer
Jav
that.
What
parody?
parody?
What the fuck is that?
Jav,
why not?
J-A-V,
Don't.
is Japanese adult video. It's porn.
Oh.
Oh well, I'm sure a lot of these anime have adult parodies. I'm pretty sure there's a Rurouni Kenshin parody
Yeah, I
out
think it was on
there.
his hard drive.
And I don't know if all the actors in it were over
I have to
18.
believe that they weren't. Anything else for
Alright,
Liar?
well, and enough about. Yeah, I think that's it about that one. It's time to move on to something that it's the newest installment in the short stack subgenre. We got My Tiny Senpai.
Fuck this show.
Yeah,
This was the second thing I watched, and I had a breakdown watching it.
See, I thought so. In my server, I posted that this random slice of life where nothing happens has finally broke
That's all of
me,
them.
and that was right before watching Dreaming Boy. I thought this show had broken me. We'll get to Dreaming Boy in a second, but I seriously watched this. I did not finish the episode once again, but I was like, this is just the worst. This is terrible.
Found the
Because-
Jav. It's Bibian 314. That's the Kakegurui parody.
But
Listen,
anyway, it's like this. Okay, so the entire premise of this show is you know that meme where it's like, Mom, I want my I want my senpai is
My
annoying.
senpai is annoying.
We already have my senpai
Yeah,
is annoying
yeah.
at home. The senpai is annoying at home, and it's just this
Yeah,
is
My
my
Tiny
senpai is
Senpai.
annoying but bad.
Yeah, like,
Th-
I thought we already
this
did
show-
Except this time the
This
roles
show
are
is about
reversed.
wanting to fuck your mother in a child's body.
That's a take.
I wouldn't go that far.
He would go further.
'Cause, like,
Actually,
the age difference between the characters is not nearly drastic enough.
No,
for
they're
that
adults,
to
but
be
guess
the
what? They
case.
don't act like adults. They act like fucking children.
it's true.
No. See, the fantasy here is that why can't I get a girl who's short, busty, and meows and
But also
public
is my
mother.
See,
I did not get any
that
mother
either.
vibes. Like this show is trashy, but not.
It's
I did
very
not
clear
get
that in the
mother.
relationship,
milf
she would be
strat.
the one taking care and acting like a mother figure.
All right, Freud, let's calm down.
So that cat meowing scene.
Is she autistic?
I am.
Well, I don't.
It looked
That's
like her
what I
cat
thought
was on a
too.
cruise.
Obviously, she is commonly depicted as a cat girl, and all cat girls are
See,
are
I'm
autistic.
someone who meows at their cat from time to time because it's funny. I do not.
Yeah, you're autistic.
Okay,
Also
I
your
won't
cat.
deny the allegations.
Not gonna
But-
be the autism allegations tonight.
Yeah,
I just
not
call my
beating
cat a
them.
little bastard.
Is it true though?
I do
Does
that
he know his
too.
mother? What is
But
father?
like, I wouldn't do it in public when random people are there towards a bush when the cat is already gone. That's just
You wouldn't be down like in a crouch position going
Meow, meow,
meow,
yeah.
meow.
I just say meow meow, motherfucker. Hey, what's up, cat?
What's up,
exactly.
pussy?
It's not.
Yeah, I can suspend my disbelief enough to know that there's a tiny short stack busty thing in the office, but that she would do that in public. Try to get a cat in public like that, I can't.
Well, see, what
Can't believe it.
finally.
Man, this show is setting up impossible
Really?
expectations, man. I'm already struggling out here to find a full-time job that I'll like. Now you're gonna throw this coworker GF massage fantasy at
Oh,
me
I forgot
too.
there was a massage
Like, come
thing.
on, that's just irresponsible.
Yeah.
Why do
so fucking-
why do all anime girls need to be just
Well, I understand why she would
idealized
need to be
and
massaged. Like,
perfect?
it's fucking tight.
Why does that need to happen? Why can't we just have characters?
Because how could we know if she's
You
cute
know
if
what
she
would make
doesn't
this,
act
like,
like
so
a
much
child?
I'm lonely.
You know what would make this so much more bearable and like relatively, like, you know, not by much, but like at least a little bit. At least have the show be about two coworkers who are dating.
That'd be a start.
See, I like
It wouldn't keep her from being a weirdo autist, but at least like you wouldn't be having like to be like, oh whoa, this girl, my senpai at work is so cute, and oh my god, I can't
just-
take it. If they're dating, at least like, oh wow, that's I have
I'm
a
just
girlfriend.
so
Cool.
tired of these shows where it's like I am the guy with no character design whatsoever. This main character is like one of the most perfect. He is arguably more perfectly generic than most isekai protagonists. He is
I am
so
so
blank slate. He is
I'm
nothing.
so fucking tired of this trend of limp-dicked, bitch-made,
Real.
herbivore-ass guy main characters
Preach.
and their fucking
Herbivore
shit,
ass.
where they back the fuck down constantly at any chance to move further in a relationship. Like, come the fuck on. This guy is supposed to be an adult. Honestly, I can't tell anymore. What the fuck is he doing?
They should have figured out by the end of episode 1 that
But-
they want to fuck each other, and then the episode should have ended with them going back to one of their rooms or a
Episode 1.
hotel, and then like, oh shit, I guess we're in a relationship
Episode
now.
1 should have ended him diving dick first in some pussy, but he's a fucking waste of cum.
He
Harsh.
should have been drowning in her
He's a
tits.
waste.
I'm
Well,
just
how did the,
tired of.
I'm sick of this shit.
Perfectly cute, but just generic enough anime girls, where people who've
Bro,
seen.
it's so
fi-
generic. Twitter didn't
yeah,
even get mad
where
this
it's like,
time.
If you've seen 10 anime, you look at this and go, "Oh my god, she's so cute." But I've seen enough shows.
I want to
to where
bash
it's
her in
like,
the head with a
I
shovel.
just want good character design again. Like, the Dragon Maid girls are cute. Toru's cute. Kobayashi's cute. But it's like, they have designs, though. They look distinct. They're fun to look at more than just... They put the fun of the design before the cute of the design, is what I'm getting at. Whereas
No,
this
they put the
show is
tits in
just the mo-
front of everything.
Well, they definitely did for this show. Because she gets introduced basically tit first. Ugh.
Listen. That the show's just making a grand point about
Mhm.
women.
Yeah, and whatever point it's making, I don't want to hear it.
It's. I will say though, she has a better character design than Uzaki.
That's true. I mean, Uzaki looked like Gollum, but with boobs.
Let's see. I need to check this
Refresh your
girl
memory.
again. Yeah, refresh my memory.
You need to remember what fucking awful character design looks like.
Well, I remember at
pretty
least
bad.
Uzaki stood out. She's ugly, but at least it wasn't.
She's
so
mid, but she makes me feel warm
perfectly-
inside.
Just so perfectly nothing.
Like I have no feelings about the senpai girl from this show other than the fact that I would dick her down.
I
that a
wouldn't
high
even
bar?
do
Nah,
that.
I wouldn't feel like-
go that far.
I wouldn't feel I wouldn't even feel I wouldn't I d-
No,
wouldn't
you
feel
dick her
pride
down
about
and then
it.
don't call her in the morning.
Yeah, exactly,
It's-
exactly.
She's just nothing. Honestly,
wrote
I'm
down
gonna go and
the
say
childhood friend
Uzaki had
blonde
a
one.
better
That's why
character
you do
design
not
because at
call her in
least
the morning and
Uzaki
bounce.
No,
stood
Crunchy,
out.
you're
I'm
coping
not
too hard.
coping.
You're coping
This
too hard.
show, this
Flesh Fang.
okay, yeah.
It was short, white, silver hair.
The
Mega
Flesh Fang
Milk.
sucks, right?
Sugoi Dakai.
It's like the senpai in this show is just so. At least I can remember Uzaki's design. I watched this show today, and I had to look up her design in order to remember what she looked like. That is how unmemorable and perfectly
The only thing
generic.
Uzaki has over her is that Uzaki has canonically played Metal Gear Rising Revenge.
I think you just
Yes.
remember Uzaki more because Twitter was upset about that one and not this.
It
Senpai
wasn't
in this
even
show
because
is
of
just
that.
a mayo sandwich, just the most nothing, flavorless, just generic garbage.
It is.
Yeah,
it
it's just
is the
it's a
most
bread
Yeah, I
sandwich.
like
It's
bread
just-
sandwiches, though.
The
It's
mayo's
the
too
most
good for her.
charmless fan service show I
A
have
slice
ever
of
seen.
bread. That's all she is. That's all she's worth.
half a slice of bread at most, honestly.
Dropped on the floor at least once.
Bro, like
Maybe a little bit moldy.
Soviet
Not worth-
Russia
not
would
worth
have
the cut-off
turned down
crust.
this slice of bread. That's what we're talking about right now.
Tragic.
All right, getting a little bit of xenophobia. All right, cool.
Beautiful.
Yo, make Russia so good.
All right, well, if you're this worked up over
Oh, no.
over my Tiny Senpai, how'd you feel about peak
Uh-huh.
fiction
That's one word for it.
from the studio that brought us the other peak fiction this season? The Dreaming Boy is a
The
real
So-
show's so generic, I don't even remember what it looked like until I had to click on the episode again.
I have a story with this show. So after watching my Tiny Senpai masterwork, obviously, I was looking down the list, went to the next show. The Dreaming Boy is a realist, and I was like, okay, well at least it has an interesting enough title. And then I put it into AniList, and I'm like, oh, it's another generic rom-com. So I go in with my expectations tempered. And I say, well, it'll just be boring. I can just get it over with in 5
Oh no,
minutes.
it's a light novel.
I did see the light novel. And I actually, once I saw the cover, I remembered that this was one of those light novels where I was like, this looks generic as hell, but the girl is cute. So I might actually read like 10 pages of it someday and then...
None of the girls
The
in the
main,
show are
okay, in the
cute.
light novel art, she looked cute. In the actual show, the art is terrible, so she does not look cute whatsoever. But in the light novel art, I was like, well, she has an alright design. I guess I could read 10 pages of this. Never got around to it because it looked generic, but I at least remembered what it was. So I was like, okay, what do we have in store? And I get to about, I think like a minute into the episode. And then this line of monologue hits. If I had to say what my personality is, I'd say people see me as a stalkery dude. And that was the beginning of the worst episode of anime I have ever seen in my entire life, and I am not exaggerating. I have never felt this furious, this much vitriol towards a piece of fiction in my entire life. I had to go on a scooter ride after this just to cool off. I had to touch grass to remember what happiness is after watching this. This is actually next level in how much I hate this show. Where do I even begin? I need to know if other people agree with me right now. I know Keysmash called it generic. It is not generic. It is, but it is so much worse than that.
It's just the most nothing thing I've seen. I do think calling it the worst thing ever is a bit exaggerating. Cause
I will tell you why.
Once with a friend,
I'm inclined to agree. It was bad, but it was the way you were hyping it up
I
in your server,
hate it.
Crunchy. I was coming in with the expectation being like, oh man, if Crunchy, like I hate Rent a Girlfriend, and he says, oh dude, if you hate Rent a Girlfriend, this is 10 times worse.
once
Dude.
with a
Like, oh boy, I'm prepping my anus, bro. I'm getting ready, and then I watched. I was like, I mean, it was bad, but I've seen where I think Rent a Girlfriend has gotten me more pissed.
But once with a friend,
I
we
mulleted
went to
so
my
hard.
anime list and we went to the lowest rated like shows on it on that website and we watched through a bunch of those. We saw some shit.
I mean,
But-
I've seen Utsu Musume Sayari. Is that what
Same,
it's called?
same.
Peak Fiction, bro. The
Which
one
one is
with
that
the
again?
weird 3D animation.
Yeah,
with the
Utsumu
monster.
Musume Sayori. I think it's called.
It's like some surrealist shitpost animation.
Shitpost is quite right.
Sounds like cinema.
I was just gonna say stuff like Mars of
It
Destruction.
is
Skeleton
visually
Heaven.
disturbing.
Yeah. I haven't seen most of the bottom rated shows on there. And I haven't seen X-Arm. I haven't seen X-Arm. I need to get on
I need to
that.
watch XR.
But like
Yeah.
I've seen some straight trash.
Yeah, no, X-Arm is way
I
worse
have
than
not
this.
seen anything from X-Arm.
This show has a worse message, but if
The
you want
message
like
is
a bad
why I
TV
hate
show,
it so
X-Arm.
much, though. Like that, the message on top of just everything else in this show being so terrible. Okay, so let's just get into this. So our main dude, I forgot his name. His face is falling off half the time. By the way, the art in this show is atrocious. It is very, very bad. Nobody is ever on model except for if it's a close-up, and then they like kind of make it look okay for a single shot, and then you see people in the distance again and you're like, oh, they're falling apart at the seams. Those are creatures in perpetual pain. Oh no. Yeah, this show looks like garbage. It's surprisingly not the worst looking show of the season, because it does have good colors in some places, but it's like it does not look good. Now, the entire setup of this show is that this loser dude and a popular girl are eventually going to get together. We already know. The clear indication is that they are going to get together, right?
Spoilers.
Ah, yeah, big spoiler alert. But
the reason that they come together. Is...
so
don't
this guy, he decides, okay, I'm in love with this girl, so I'm just gonna like follow her around and say hi, then ask her out every day. She'll tell me to stop following her, and I'll just keep it up. I will keep on following her every single day.
You're like straight up harassing this girl.
This
Call
is
that romance.
beyond reprehensible behavior. This is like actually, this is the worst message. Genuine. I have not seen a worse. You cannot get a worse premise than let's have a popular girl gets with loser guy show, but the loser guy is actually just harasses her until she gets Stockholm syndromed into liking him.
Remember, kids, if you stalk a girl long enough and then stop stalking her, she'll get so sad that you stopped stalking her. She'll
yeah,
come
it'll kill
visit
her
you.
self-esteem.
The idea of this show is that, okay, so in this horribly directed sequence, might I add, he gets either hit in the face with a soccer ball or it like
I think it
near
just goes
misses
just
him.
past his face.
No, like a soccer ball, like
just
it
passes
just passes
by.
by his face.
I think some characters later say he got hit in the face with one, which is why I was confused, but the animation shows it nearly missing him. And there's like this one bit where like the world inverts in color, and for a second I thought it was going to go for a supernatural bend, and I was kind of getting hype, but no, it's the idea behind it. It is attempting this radical concept called visual storytelling, and it is doing it poorly, where it is trying to visualize the realization that he is being a creep. And that's where the dreaming boy is a realist part of the title comes in. He's being a realist in realizing that stalking women is bad. Well, congratulations, bro. I'm sure it took both your brain cells to come up with that one.
You're giving him too much credit too.
You know what? Fair. I'm lowering that to 1. His one brain cell was glowing. That single neuron was firing off constantly just to come up with that one. And
You see, I was prepared for the scenario where after he stops stalking the girl and then like starts maintaining boundaries and distance from her like a normal person. Everyone, including the teacher in his class, is so shocked and taken aback by this.
that
like, yo, dude, are you okay?
So no one in
Like,
this show is a real person. No one. Because if this happened in real life, for people wouldn't be, oh, you're not harassing that girl, ha ha, that's so funny, bro. No, they'd be like, oh, thank God, you're finally normal. He would have been like, there's one moment where
Crunchy, I think maybe you missed the point. This is all an allegory for Hollywood executives.
But we don't live in Hollywood. It's like, there's this one part where he's talking about he asked out this girl and presumably did the same thing, and her boyfriend punched him, and that was the first time when I felt like someone was responding to the situation in a normal way, because he should be being like, this girl, I mean, she's reasonably attractive, she'd have white knights for her, and they just punch him in the face, and for once I'd agree with the white knights, because I'd be like, yeah, he deserves to get decked. He doesn't know how to keep distance. She would have to like tell the principal, like, yo, this dude's literally stalking me. And the principal would get involved. His parents would get called. This is the real life version of this. That doesn't happen. There's no world where everyone in the class is shocked that he isn't harassing her for one day. Not even a full day, one morning in class. This is the first morning where he has decided not to do this, and they're all stunned. There is no way that this would be tolerated unless Japanese society is just dilapidated and falling apart and they've lost all moral code. That's the only situation where this is true. Otherwise, it is completely and utterly nonsense. It just doesn't make any sense. And this continues throughout the entire episode. There's this one girl who approaches him and is like, yo, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, why is any woman approaching this guy? This guy should be seen as like a menace to society. No woman should feel safe around him. Because he's just gonna stalk. He's known that he's
just like me, for real.
No, I think most women would feel safe because he's only after the one, very clearly.
Sure, it's not like
she would feel like her life is threatened, though.
No, I don't think any woman would feel safe around him, because
they'd feel creeped out.
I mean, they don't know what he's gonna do. He's just doesn't know boundaries. He follows this girl every day, all the time. And the insult to injury is, of course, that she ends up going to his house, and it's just like, it's just like, why? Why would you go to his house? This is the worst message any show has ever pushed. Probably not. There's probably something I just don't know about. Don't quote me on that. Well, Redo of Healer was at least some garbage. It was porn. It didn't condone anything. At least that I know of. I haven't seen it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, this is I struggle to say dangerous to put out in the world, because in my opinion, if you take like what happens in fiction as serious moral advice when it's very clearly wrong, society has failed you, and you also probably failed yourself at some point. But if there ever was a show that was dangerous to put out to the world, this is it. He at least acknowledges that it is creepy. You know, that's the realist part of the story, and that's like mildly relieving, but the entire premise of the show goes against that, where it is, even if he is of the opinion that what he's doing is creepy, he is nonetheless rewarded for that behavior come the end of the episode. He's just like, he literally tells her, like, yo, what I was doing was messed up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop harassing you. By the way, do you have any other friends that I could go try to date? And she's like, you idiot. Because she's like so devastated that he isn't gonna do this to her anymore.
Isn't gonna stalk and pester her anymore.
There's so many lines I have quoted. I have like 3 pages of notes for this. I was so heated throughout the entire thing.
While you have so many quotes written down, this is my biggest issue with the show. Even more so than the message that is put out. I hate the
Oh,
script.
the dialogue
I feel
is
like every
awful.
line that the character, every line that the character says is like either incredibly roundabout and wishy-washy, do not have a fucking point.
Sometimes I would lose what the show was even trying to say, and even when I got what it was trying to say, it still came out so stilted and awkward. It's so some lines near the end of the episode is when the girl's like, "You're being weird." Okay, so first of all, everyone's like worried about this guy's mental health because he's not stalking her. In what world? In what world does this happen?
If this were a parody, this would be hilarious. But this is not a parody. This
author
is real.
doesn't know how people work. This is like a hikikomori making a story about someone who gets the girl. This is that level of disconnect from society. He just doesn't understand people, or at the very least has contrived the world in order to make this awful scenario occur. And so everyone's like, "Oh, are you up in your feels, bro? Oh, I feel so bad for you, bro. What's going on? Do you want to take a mental health day off school? I think you need a mental health day, yeah." Some of that wasn't actually said, but the general sentiment was conveyed.
They're basically begging him, go back to stalking, you're acting weird.
In the real world, yeah, that's what would happen. Where it's like everyone's like, "Oh, thank God you're not doing this anymore, bro. I was ashamed to be your friend. Like, you're normally cool, but there's this one girl you keep doing this around. Hey, I'm glad you're off that." But instead, they're like, "Bro, you're." The one girl's best friend calls him out for cheating because he stopped. This isn't how.
Yeah, it was fucked up, bro. Why'd he stop?
You got a point.
Yeah, why you gotta treat her like that? Why you gotta cheat on her?
Neon, are you understanding why this is the worst thing I've ever put myself through? I know that Rent-A-Girlfriend's messaging is very, very horrible, but it at least felt almost tethered to reality. Not quite, but almost it didn't feel so unhinged. This feels like someone who is like genuinely, it feels like a psychopath's interpretation of the world.
Like, I understand, the message thing. Like, if the show is absolutely going to push this thing about, hey, listen, if you stalk her long enough and then you stop stalking, you will end up with the girl. And whether that's the intended message or not, it is what we are gleaming.
But it's like,
it's what we are gleaming, and it's what it is giving off. It has to be doing it on some level, otherwise we wouldn't be interpreting it as such. But I would say I've definitely seen worse.
What worse shows are there? Because granted,
Isekai.
I don't. Okay, well, yeah, I'd honestly say here's why I'd put this under pretty much all the isekai I've seen the first episodes of, because at least after you've seen enough isekai, they all blend together to become just very boring. They are very tiring wish fulfillment fantasies. But at the end of the day, it's not horrible. I mean, they are horrible, but the message they push. I mean, I know you have some issues with isekai's messaging because they die and then get rebirthed into a world.
Understatement.
But like, at least it's like, they aren't promoting it. Like promoting, "Oh, just die, bro, you'll get reincarnated." It's not such a direct promotion, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't feel as icky, I guess is what I'm getting out there. This show just feels so detached from any semblance of sanity, to the point where the fact that this even mustered up a 6.6 on Mal baffles me. This is
Okay. Crunchy, I gotta ask. Better or worse than Inukai-san Dog?
I'd say, well, see, if we're going off of the first episode, this is easily worse.
Because that show literally just straight up has a zoo file for its main
I know
character.
that
One of the main
Inukai-san's
characters.
dog is something that I I don't get actively mad at Inukai-san's dog. First episode, I don't know what
It's
happens
disgusted?
later. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's something that I find just icky. But at least the first episode kept. I know the manga goes crazy for Inukai-san's dog, and if I ever read that, first of all,
too late for me.
be worried if I ever read it. DM me asking me if I'm okay. I'm probably on the verge of killing myself if that ever happens. But I haven't consumed that, so I wouldn't necessarily know what the experience is like. Other than that, I know it will be terrible if I ever put myself through it. But like first episode, she's a freak, but at least nothing too horrible took place. It was just a very uncomfortable bath scene. And it was also half the length of this, by the way. So that's immediately a plus. I had to be subjected to half the time of this episode. So yeah, I'd put this under Inukai-san's dog.
I think you should continue watching Dreaming Boy. I think you're having a lot of fun.
I'm not having a lot of fun. Maybe...
Mom, pick me up. I'm not
Yeah.
having fun at this party.
See, there's a part of me that wants to just make videos ranting about this show and how terrible it is, but I don't know if it'll get views at all.
You should call it
But it would be very
the
entertaining.
Dreaming Crunchy is a realist.
The Dreaming Crunchy wishes he...
How to stalk your
stalk
girlfriend.
Here, Dreaming Boy, then : how to stalk your girlfriend. There we go. That's what this show promotes.
You see, Crunchy, the only thing I'm gaining out of this rant of yours is that we picked the wrong Studio Gokumi / Axis show to cover every week.
I would have been... I cannot imagine covering this show weekly. I would have...
Do it, coward.
That would be horrible. I genuinely... It
But
would
make
be
for
good content. But it would be personally the most offensive thing I have ever done.
And that's
see,
why you should
even
do it.
outside
That's why
of
it's
the
good
messaging,
content.
here's what makes this the worst show ever. Because Rent-A-Girlfriend's message is horrible, right? I mean, it's slightly less horrible because at least with Rent-A-Girlfriends, the only thing you're doing is harming yourself. It is saying that, hey, you have a chance, bro. You can go ahead, subscribe to that OnlyFans, bro. It'll work out. Yeah, it's at least that's horrible. That is awful messaging. It is downright atrocious. But at least you're only harming yourself. This show is telling you, go on, harass that girl. Stalk her. Follow her everywhere. Keep on pestering her.
secretly
Ruin her
enjoys it.
life. Yeah. She's just being a tsundere, bro. That is where the difference between this and Rent-A-Girlfriend's message comes to me. Because at least with Rent-A-Girlfriend, you're messing up... the damage is limited to yourself. You're the idiot, you pay the consequences. This show, you're the idiot, someone else pays the consequences. It's bad. It is terrible. But, God, at least with Rent-A-Girlfriend, outside of that, it's a very, very trashy rom-com that I get some sort of sick enjoyment out of watching, because it makes me angry, it is terrible, it is infuriating, but it is nonetheless a weird sort of fun to me. It is entertaining on a moment-to-moment basis. It has some good ideas, executed poorly, but with this show, outside of that, is non-stop stilted dialogue, scenes with no pulse to them. And the main character treats this girl as like a goddess and talks about how much she's like so cool. He meets this other girl too. She's pretty cute, I guess, but not nearly enough to save this show. And the art is still terrible, so she looks awful half the time just based on the art quality. And the plotline is so nothing, by the way. So her hang-up is that my boyfriend said that another girl is his type. I didn't like that, so now I'm trying to date you to make him jealous. nothing endeared me to her as a character. It didn't make the main boy more endearing. I frankly don't get what the point of it was. She immediately goes back to dating him, because I guess the message we were supposed to have gleaned. All right, we don't have any context into why he said that, or what what the purpose was, if it was an offhanded remark or whatever. We just know that it was said. And it's like,
this show is teaching us that all women are in fact not shit.
it's like what bothered me is that the main character said, "You know what? That's just a men thing to say that girl's my type." And I'm like, I mean, no. Depending on the context, definitely no. No. Why is that a men thing and not a women thing? Like, if it was an offhanded comment, then that's a men and women thing, where you just say,
Totally
"Oh,
a
hey,
men
that
thing to
person
cheat on your girlfriend. It's fine. It's
See,
what men do.
if it's an offhanded comment, just like, "Oh, that person looks pretty," like, okay, I understand why breaking up with him would be an overreaction, but that's not a men thing. That doesn't make sense. What? I mean, men and women can just passively find people attractive, and if he was like gunning for her, then don't go back together with him. What? That's bad. No, stay away from him. He was like about to cheat on you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't remember like half of the stuff you described because
Yeah,
I
this
zoned
this
out
show is so
5
worth
minutes
nothing
in.
else but apathy.
Because none of it ever has impact. Like, even the guy realizing that he's a creep has no build up or payoff. If this show were good, it'd be like 3 episodes of this person being a weirdo and everyone in the entire universe saying, "Dude, this is messed up. You're cringe. You're bad. Get help. Go to therapy." And finally, he listens to them. And it's a show about redemption. And they never get together. They can be friends, maybe, by the end, by episode 12, once he's done a whole bunch of atonement. But you do not want to get him the girl by the end. That is terrible messaging. You do not
gonna get the
want to
girl.
say, well, yeah, he will, because she's already in love with him. But in the good version of this show, they would never get together. Not even a chance. At most, friends. Once he realizes what he's done is wrong, and once he's done something to atone for it. And it would be a show about atonement and forgiveness, and that would be an interesting angle to take it, Call of the Night had actually an episode like this, where it's the same sort of deal, but the guy gets chewed out for being messed up. It's depicted as a terrible thing to do. He realizes what he did wrong. The people were friends before it happened, so there's some kind of basis that it can maybe be a functioning friendship. And by the end, they're friends with no chance of becoming lovers. The entire point of that episode is, no, that's bad. And the person in question who was being stalked, her entire hangup was that she's tired of guys. She just wants a friendship with guys as opposed to like a romance. And by the end, both people get like a satisfactory conclusion. But the key thing is, he's not getting rewarded for stalking her. He's actively like, no, that's bad. And, he doesn't get the girl. That's why Call of the Night is good. That's why this show sucks. And just everything about it is terrible. The characters are all unfun, boring, have no interesting personality traits. They're all obnoxious. The show's ugly. Did I mention that it's straight up horrible? I've probably said that 15 times by now.
I think the main guy's sister was pretty good.
Alright, I'm cutting you off. I'm reeling you in just to keep you from.
Yeah,
Conclusion.
I'm about at
The
the
Dreaming
end of
Boy
it.
is mid.
I think the one thing we can take from this
That's
today
generous to me.
is that The Dreaming Boy is a Realist is the anime of the season, 10 out of 10. If there's one
Real.
thing to watch, it's this one. Fuck everything else. This is the real shit. Throw everything
condone
else
this
in the
message.
garbage. Go
Zom
watch
100
Dreaming
more
Boy
like
is a
Zom
Realist. You
0.
will love it. And go tell Crunchy how much he's missing by not watching it.
It's true.
Helk more like.
Yeah, this.
Now keep it going. What are the titles you got?
I've listed all 2 of the good shows this season.
Well, I'm sure someone would disagree with that because
I mean, I
Dark
do disagree with
Gathering
this, but
is getting some attention.
not on that one.
I am currently 18 minutes through Dark
Oh, yeah?
Gathering. I did not quite finish the first episode, but I am liking what I am seeing. I don't know if it's something I can watch week in and week out, but it's a little fun. It is hard carried by the main character. At least the Yaoi, the purple
Her
I
girl.
hate
design.
children.
Fair.
No wonder you
Uh,
didn't like Kenshin.
Damn
we need to
right.
stop. We need to stop.
No, but straight up, whenever she's on screen, I'm like, get this fucking kid off the screen.
I
No,
love
she's
her
the best part of the
design,
show.
honestly.
I like the
Her
eyes. I think that's pretty
personality-
cool. But
Her personality is cool enough, but it'd be way worse if her design weren't literally like the best design of the
I
season.
like how she's a genius and she's a scheming jokester.
Yeah, so the show admittedly hasn't really sold me on her high IQ yet. The idea that she's super intelligent, super schemer, and that, you know, this is going to be an important part of her personality and give her some more layers. I'm sure we'll get to it. I'm sure we're building up to that point. But for now, we have merely been told that she is super smart, and by the end of the episode is show that she does have seemingly a plan to get her parents back from the spirits that have captured her, or rather captured them. Well, we see her mom get brought up. I'm not too sure about the dad. Probably still up there somewhere. Oh, the dad.
No, the
Who
dad
gives
died.
a shit? He's just the dad.
sad.
The mom got taken away.
Okay, yeah, and she's trying to get her mom back, it seems, and through is making some kind of. Well, I've skipped ahead a fair bit. To be fair, the show's about ghosts. We got the Ghostbusters up in here.
Ghost. About ghosts?
here would
it's a
fuck a
wait. It's a
ghost?
story about ghosts. Like
Depends how cute is
Okay.
the ghost.
fucking Monogatari.
I would fuck a ghost.
If she's
How?
a cute ghost, I would.
What are you asking? How?
Yeah, I'm asking how. There are theories.
How
on the
would-
guy.
How have you not? Okay, look, buy a sex doll, have it possess the doll, fuck the
If-
doll. You fucked a ghost.
Have the ghost possess you, make yourself
Is
come,
that
and then
sex?
that
Is
counts.
I don't know. Asking for a friend.
Let's go sex. I
I was actually just thinking about the library Ghostbusters. We get stripped off.
It's not that complicated to fuck.
That was a family
ghost.
movie. Yeah, I'll be honest. I wasn't really
my
feeling Dark
eyes had
Gathering.
to be covered for that scene in Ghostbusters. I only figured out what happened way later down the line.
I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, "Why is he making that face, Mom?" I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, what's cool about Dark Gathering is that the girl is just a little bundle of kudere chaos. She does not emote outside of her wide-eyed stare, and at first she is kind of busting the main guy's balls for being like, you suck, you can't believe you don't want to do all these cool ghost shit, but then they bond a little over their you have ghost problems that fucked with you in your past and fucked up your life too. I can relate to that. Hey, you're a bro now. Here, take this statue I made of the my cousin's pantyhose that she wore yesterday. He took them, by the way. No, it wasn't me.
Yeah, so this show, the thing I liked about it is that it's this mix of comedy and seemingly sincere-ish attempts at horror. There is a fair bit of tension in these scenes. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's scary, but you definitely
not.
do feel some of the tension in terms of the directing. And it, even if you aren't outright scared by it, I'm not even sure if that's necessarily the intention, at least as of right now. Because
I think the
it
hard
does...
tonal shifts between comedy scenes with attempts at horror really makes the attempts at horror so underwhelming and less that it just does not land.
See, I actually like the blend of tones. I'm not sure if the show has nailed its tone quite yet. Maybe it'll pick up in terms of capturing it as it goes on, but I really like what it's trying to do, and I think there are some places where it executes it well enough. Honestly, I think the problem is that it's trying too hard to be scary at certain points, where if it just admitted that it's about this weird blend of silly comedy and kind of weird creepy stuff happening, and like emphasize the comedy a little more, it would be perfect for me. Where what I've heard Miyaruko-chan is, I haven't actually seen it, but that sort of idea behind it.
Okay, here's a question. Can you name any like legitimately like scary horror anime?
Nope.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Blue.
That's what I was gonna say. Perfect
Yeah.
Blue is the only thing that actually like got.
And the list starts and ends.
Yes,
with
it
Perfect
starts and
Blue.
ends. You look at every other medium. You look at video games, so many horror games. You look at movies, so many horror movies. You look at everything else. But you go to anime and there's so little horror. And I think it's a shame that there's like Perfect Blue and nothing.
Yeah, because
What, fucking ghost
yeah,
stories?
because Japanese live action horror movies are like fucking famous.
But like when I saw this show and I saw it was trying to go for something horror, I was like, fucking good. I want some goddamn horror. I want to feel oppression. I want terror. Give me this.
Mhm.
But then it didn't.
Well, see, I'm one of those people that just likes fiction as a pick-me-up, so I'm like, I just want it to be funny.
I've already established that I like things that make me miserable.
You have,
Yeah,
in
I'm
fact,
more in the same
established
camp on
that.
that.
Yo, have you watched Ju-on the Grudge? The ghost in that is fucking hot.
You say Jew on a grudge?
Ju-on the Grudge.
Uh-huh.
That's the name of the
Ju-on
fucking thing.
Grudge.
Yeah. Juon. It's Japanese.
Okay. All right. See, I was thinking.
It's the
I was
fucking
thinking
Grudge.
Mel Brooks trying to kill Hitler or something.
No, it's
Okay.
it's out after The Ring. It's the most famous like Japanese horror movie.
See,
I
I'm
see.
one of those people who is skipping on Perfect Blue because it seems too scary. So I'm just.
It's not really that scary. It's more like psychological scary.
Well,
How the
yeah,
fuck have none
yeah.
of you ever
I
heard of
that's
The
why I
fucking
don't want to
Grudge?
watch it.
I'll tell you why I haven't. I mean, I've heard the Grudge. I haven't heard the Japanese name, but generally,
Yeah,
not
it's
really
Ju-on the Grudge.
I'm not really a horror guy, and most Japanese comedies, most anime comedies, don't really land for me. So I'm not exactly surprised that something that's trying to do both, be a bit of a horror comedy, didn't really work for me. Wasn't I don't know, I guess I'm going against the grain here, but I was kind of bored with it. I wasn't really interested in any of the characters. I thought the main chick, I was like,
No,
oh,
I feel that.
she's got cool eyes, but like it's so artificial. It felt like hey, we need to have our brand established. We need to show something you can point to say why you need to watch the show.
I mean,
Let's give this chick some
I
cool
guess
I'm gonna
eyes.
back that up.
could accuse it of being
Absolutely.
a mascot character, but I mean, first of all, I think that she's just interesting enough within this first episode that I would watch more of her. But second of all, her character design is just so good. It's such a good design. Like
I think it's in the wrong show, though.
It's so wacky, but works so well. I'm probably putting her front and center in the thumbnail, by the way, Neon. I'm just letting you know right now. Her design is too good not to
That's a
be
good one to
the
pick.
biggest character in the thumbnail. It's so appealing. Yeah.
She can go side by side with Kenshin.
But yeah, she is.
It's the implication.
Oh no.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for
Oh
it.
no. Maybe not side by side per se.
Maybe have her ride Kenshin's shoulders. if
That
that's
would
possible.
be even worse. Let's
Listen,
move
I don't
on
want
from
cute
that.
in my horror. I want something like Dark Water, where if you have to have a kid, have them be an object of, oh fuck, they're gonna die. Go watch Dark Water. That movie's great.
I was thoroughly entertained. With
I-
this.
I like the idea of Yayoi being like this ghost medium who's like the reason ghosts I can see ghosts but I can't like seek them out is because they're all terrified of what I can do to them once I get them.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but
Uh,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Because she's scarier than the
say,
ghosts.
I'm not sure how necessary the ghost tentacle impregnation of her mother scene was.
I was intrigued
little
by that.
I was
like,
I
okay.
was a bit I recoiled a little bit and was like, "What? Excuse me? Excuse me?"
It was a bit much.
That felt a little overkill, a little wacky, a little weird, a little why did we need to have that specific imagery?
Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause I think it's just even on my anime list, like for the tags and the genres that it gave. I mean, it just says horror and supernatural. It doesn't even list comedy, but I would say like
But that felt way more of the
Yeah.
intention of the show.
I think it's kind of what you were saying. Like it's trying to be horrific, but it's like also trying to litter in a bunch of jokes here and there, and it undercuts the other. If it was a proper horror comedy, like a Little Pet Shop of Horrors or something,
Or
think it
like
probably-
Shaun of the
See
Dead.
that
or like a Shaun of the Dead.
see like proper horror comedy is what I want it to be. And
I don't know that it's gonna be that though. I think it's gonna lean more into the horror with more.
maybe if it
episodes.
does it well,
I've only seen
in
episode
future
one, I don't know.
episodes. Yeah, I've only seen one episode 1 as well, but like, I don't know. I feel like it could nail the tone as it goes on. Right now, I do feel I'm with you a little, but
Sure, maybe it's possible, but if it does actually lean more into the horror aspects of things, then episode
want it to
1
lean
just
more into
could just be episode 1 could just be a weird episode, and maybe it'll lean more in a direction that either of us wants. Who knows?
I mean,
I
the
don't.
thing is, I'm looking at the main character, and I'm like, this would not really. I can't imagine that design working for an actual horror anime.
Yeah,
I
it
can
feels like it's gonna
only-
lean more
that's
into the
I
comedy.
think that's why I think it's going for a horror comedy
I-
approach, because that character is that design is the mix of horror and comedy. Like that is what it conveys perfectly. The mate
Yeah, I don't think the show is going for like a straight horror vibe. Otherwise, they would not have a goth lolly with skull eyes wielding a Jesus statue with pantyhose like a flail to beat
See,
up a
what
ghost.
I think what you really want is ghost stories.
That's actual cinema. I love ghost stories.
But because you're black.
That show is so good. I love it. I'm so glad it got a Blu-ray release.
Yeah,
Real.
yeah. Dark Gathering is fun, but the real highlight of the season definitely belongs to
did it.
Atelier Ryza,
You did
the
it, Reddit.
animation.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't blame you for this because French is a fake language spoken by freaks. It is Atelier.
Atelier.
Bless you.
Yeah, Atelier. Yeah, but
Sorry, I don't
no, it's
speak Italian.
French.
Sorry, I don't speak pseudo.
And I'm probably
That's not-
butchering it anyway, so I'm just gonna say Atelier because that's
Did
no,
you
it's,
make
it's,
that up?
it's Atelier.
You know what? I can ask.
says it with a lot of
I can
confidence.
ask
No,
Cyanix
the language.
one of these days.
What is French?
French is a language spoken by frog people.
for now.
Anyway, so Atelier
Gone in a century.
is a series of video games I own all? No, I don't own Annie on the DS. I
Wow,
own
big
all
fan.
but Annie
Big fan.
of the every English release. In fact, I own most of them twice because I also have them on Steam. I got a problem. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, so the way I think about Atelier is it is a series of slice of life adventure RPGs. It is a nice blend of your standard adventure RPG, but you're also hanging out with characters a lot of the time. Just seeing them live their life. Because most of the games follow a time system where it's 3 to 5 years, so you see these characters grow and shit like that. Also, this is not the first Atelier anime. The first Atelier to get an anime was Eschatology. That is a Japanese pun, by the way. Don't whatever. So that show got one, and I heard it was pretty mid, but I also haven't watched it, so I can't really comment on that. Then Gust, which is the studio that makes Atelier, they got another anime based on another of their works called Blue Reflection Ray, I think it is. And that show was rough. Characters were melting constantly. So, kind of going in, I didn't really have the highest expectations, but I will say this show kind of gave me exactly what I wanted out of an Atelier anime.
Thighs.
Yes. I very much appreciated the several shots of Ryza's thighs.
It was a real fight in the
Yes.
darkness.
But
I have been in
yeah.
fightened.
It was like God came
I just
down
want
from
to
on
say,
thigh.
in terms of Atelier,
Boo.
here's a screenshot from Rurouni, which is the first PS3 release. I want you to pronounce that character's name.
SCD?
STD.
So for
Wait,
some reason, her
what?
name got localized as that, as
Oh,
STD. In Japan, she has a different name. I don't know why they did that. Anyway,
Her name's
Why
Gonorrhea.
wouldn't?
Does she
why?
talk in exclusively sex jokes?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that character. I got no clue. Anyway,
If she talked exclusively in sex
She
jokes,
does
Have
that
the
would be 10 out of
localizers
10.
gone too far?
she
Okay,
does
well-
not talk exclusively in sex jokes.
What a waste.
Anyway, this is kind of what a pretty faithful adaptation of the show. There are some things that are changed, of course. Some things for pacing. There's a couple scenes that are anime exclusive. Some minor details that really didn't need to be changed, but I guess it is. For example, Claudia in this fights with a bow, but in the first game she fights with her flute. Because
How's that work?
it's a game.
0 out of 10.
No, she does use a bow after the first game.
Oh,
So
if
I'm
you click on
guessing-
her- I think she's
I'm-
good. I
I'm-
mean, if you click on her picture on Mal, it shows her with a flute, so get that at
Yeah.
some point, I imagine.
But I feel like they're probably like, okay, maybe we'll do the second game at some point or the third, and they're just gonna future be like, oh, she's always used a bow, but no, she uses a flute in the first game. But having watched up to the most recent episode as of recording this, the first couple episodes are a pretty close retelling of the beginning of the game, and then you get to like episode 3 or 4 or something like that, where it's an entire episode based on a side quest chain. And that's kind of what I want.
The entire 48-minute episode.
Yeah, the first episode is like the first
It's a
two
double
episodes.
feature.
Double A.
Yeah, it's a double feature. But you get to like episode 3 or 4, and it's an entire side quest chain, which is exactly what is Atelier. It is, it is basically
A series of
they're-
side quests.
no, not really. It's just a lot of the time you're spending the game kind of going into an area, gathering materials, going back to your atelier, and then synthesizing stuff for quests. It's very laid back and relaxed a lot of the time, despite, time mechanics and shit. Even though Ryza doesn't have time mechanics, it's a lot more straightforward in that regard.
The vibe that I got from this show is the vibe that I get from pretty much every anime based off a video game. I should probably just be
Yes,
playing the video game.
That is accurate.
Not for Cyberpunk.
Oh, well, at least Cyberpunk had the benefit of also just being an original story
Yeah,
with
that's
original characters that just borrows the Cyberpunk
Let's say
universe.
Cyberpunk's good now, so who knows?
Though the one thing that the anime has, I'm gonna say better than the game, is the opening. Every Atelier has like an opening cinematic before the game and whatever, and I'm gonna argue that Atelier's Ryza's anime opening is better than the game, because not only is it Ryza was the first game to have a 3D animation opening. Everything else before that was 2D, and also I feel like the anime opening is a lot better at conveying the personalities of the characters than in the game.
But which one has the most?
Oh,
The real
the
question.
game, the anime has way more thigh shots. To be fair, the game does have photo mode, but if you zoom in too close, the model disappears, so that's not fun. One thing that was changed that when I saw that I was like, huh. So there's a character called Agatha, and in the anime she has
Christy?
much more pronounced like light streaks in her hair, and I thought her hair looked like pudding. I sent a picture to for you
Oh, that
to look
chick?
at that.
It does.
I'd eat her up. Nothing wrong with that.
It's snack pack.
Her
Her
ass
hair looks like cups of vanilla swirl pudding. Like chocolate vanilla swirl pudding.
Yeah, I didn't make it too far into this. I made it like 5 minutes into
Sad.
the episode before I was just like, I should just be playing the
Well,
Ryza
I
trilogy. Uh,
I played Ryza 1 right before it started airing just to refresh my memory of shit, and so I can comment on whether or not it's accurate or what changes happen. And I'm gonna argue if you've played Ryza, then this is a good adaptation so far.
I haven't played the games,
Unfortunately,
but
I have
Um,
not.
yeah, I still thought it was
yeah,
I don't know, I wasn't bored with it. I kind of liked it. It was a sort of slow and comfy sunshine and smiles kind of show.
it sold me on Ryza's personality. If she's this much fun in the game as she is in the show, then I'll probably have a decent
Yeah,
time with
it's
her as playing
very
as
much
her.
so.
I can see why she's become like the fan
Yeah,
favorite.
it's her personality.
I don't know enough about. She's definitely
sure
the fan
it's her
favorite. I
personality.
don't know if I can go as far to say she's
Her
essentially become the
games have been
is it
the most
accurate to say
successful
that she's become the de
Atelier
facto
games.
mascot? Okay, so she has essentially become
Pretty
the de facto
much.
mascot of the Atelier
It'll
games.
like Squidward after one more bite.
And then you blow up.
It's fine. I thought one of my main complaints. Main complaint. It's kind of a petty complaint, but a couple things that stood out to me. I felt like this anime had a problem. I assume this is a problem with the game too, that I would probably have. I feel like a lot of the characters are just over designed. Like there's too
Yeah.
much going on for them. You could just kind of streamline them a bit, and it'd work better. I know the one dude, Lent. Shout out to
Welcome to Gust.
yeah, like he's like this big, strong dude, and he's wearing like a crop top with a jacket. Like maybe
Oh yeah. So
just lose the crop top, my guy. Keep the jacket. That's fine. Go shirtless. Show off the abs. But like, why are you that? Why are you the way you are?
I watched this with a friend of mine, the first episode technically too, and after it we me and her we spent like 20 minutes afterwards looking at designs of the characters in 1, 2, and 3 and how they changed, and she was just going off and like, wow, all on Lent especially, and I was like, this dude looks like fucking shit.
Yeah.
One of the funniest shots in the anime to me is Lent trying to fucking write with his armored hand, and you look at the paper and he's drawing like shit.
Yeah. Now, so that was one problem I had. Not really that big a deal. It wasn't like unwatchable. I was just like, could probably save some time not looking like that. Another thing that I noticed with this, and I don't know if it's just me, if I've developed TikTok brain or something, because I noticed it in Mushoku Tensei season 2 as well, where I feel like there's a lot of scenes that should have had music playing but didn't, and it's just a bunch of like dead air with people talking, and it's like I don't think it's like you need to have something playing at every point, but it just felt like we had extended periods of time where I'm waiting for the music cue. It seemed like that should have been the point where we had like a little subtle, maybe whimsical track playing in the background, but it's just like silent with a couple of grunts and sound effects. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a goldfish brain. I need that constant attention.
How do I
But
watch
other than
this
that, I mean,
show?
OST was pretty good.
There's no Family Guy funny moments in the corner.
Yeah, there was no Subway
Subway
surfers or whatever playing. I thought the fights kind of, I don't know, it wasn't really when I was watching for the fights.
Yeah, those were not great.
A little slow, a little janky. I remember there was one like explosion. I think
To
in the
be
first
fair,
episode.
how do you adapt a JRPG fight?
Yeah, that's I'm like, look, I get it. I'm not really complaining too much on that. For the most part, I'd say yeah, it's a fun little wholesome slice of life adventure thing. I still don't really get what the point is. I'm like, what was she wanted to go on an adventure? Is it just to go on an adventure? Okay, I guess I can get behind that.
She's just bored with island life.
I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that over another like we got to go defeat the Demon King or whatever. It's fine.
She's just bored with island life.
I feel that relatable.
The one thing I find fascinating about game adaptations of anime, anime adaptations of games rather, is that they all suffer like the same when they're like direct adaptations.
Like, why am I not playing the game?
They all suffer like, yeah, exactly. But then you do the opposite with something like this is thrown around in the Naruto fandom a lot. That the Ultimate Ninja Storm games are commonly referred to by fans as like the best way to experience Naruto.
The games are?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, because they retell the story.
Yeah, because they retell the story
but
without filler.
And they have some like cool fights
Without
that we got to see in the
filler,
anime.
the gameplay's pretty fun, and the
Shisui
graphics
is actually
with the
important.
directing and the cutscenes go crazy.
I did not know Naruto fans felt like that. That
Understand
is
much.
weird to me. I mean, couldn't you just use a filler guide?
Yeah, but that's pretty much the extent of my thoughts on the Ryza
Yeah, that's
anime.
I will say, if you never played the games, but you still like, wholesome little fantasy stuff, you'll be fine.
Well, if you never
You'll
played
like
the
it.
games, just go play the games.
I mean, yeah, just go play the games. If you don't have the time to play the games, you want to put on an episode. I mean, I guess the first episode is a bit long, but it's fine. Deal with it.
But is it
Be a
as
pussy.
fine as Undead Girl Murder Farce?
I'm gonna be honest. This is unfortunately the one show that I was not able to finish the whole
Really?
episode of.
I'm gonna be honest. I
Nah,
think this is
I
my
made it-
favorite show of the block.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I'm glad I'm not.
I'm sad that I from the 5 minutes I was able to watch before we had to start recording, I was getting into it, and I was like, oh man, no, I'm not gonna be able to finish
I
in
was
time.
intrigued.
I want to say you whatever you may say, whatever show you want to say is anime of the season. I don't care. This is anime of the season for me.
Fair.
This is my kind of show. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
are
totally
not
agree.
alone in that thought, because there are someone in my server is telling me like, "Have you seen Undead Girl Murder Farce yet? Come on, are you there? Did you talk about it in the podcast yet?" He really wants me to talk about it, and having seen the episode today, it was all right. It was fine.
Let me ask you,
It
did you
was fun.
just watch the first episode?
Yeah, I'm only one episode in, and
Yeah, that's
it
fair.
seems like the type of show I would be more than willing to continue. No, it's not like a 6 out of 10 fine. It's like a 7 out. This could probably be like a 7 out of 10 if it kept the quality of the first episode. Obviously, no clue if it gets better or worse because it's only one episode. But
The
Based off of that
show
first
is
episode.
after the first episode. This show is a murder mystery show, but the main character is basically just the demi fiend from SMT Nocturne.
no idea what that is. But
All right,
I mean, hey, murder
picture
mystery.
Sherlock Holmes and Watson, except Sherlock Holmes is an immortal 14-year-old's head, and Watson is some edgy goober Oni slayer. And they're solving mysteries all across Europe.
Okay,
It
so
involve-
that sounds actually. Now I'm actually way more interested in continuing.
It's a
it.
detective kind of story, and it involves like people and characters from literature and like folklore. And they're like going around, like Dracula gets name dropped. Episode 2 is they go to a vampire
that
place.
that fucking moment where he's stomping that bastard down and saying, "Yeah, you ain't shit. I fought like
Yeah.
you ain't shit compared to Dracula."
No, we ain't gonna spoil no like who done it, but basically I think the first episode's not the best encapsulation of what the series is. It's just like an
a
introduction.
world introduction, but
Right.
that is not what the show is. The
It's just
show is
showing
a
you, like-
murder mystery.
It's telling you, okay, this is the world, and in this world, actually, demons are real. Which that's the real world. Let's be honest, here, boys. But they're like, this is how our world is. There's a lot of fantasy still that hasn't retreated from reality yet, and like a lot of these figures who you thought weren't there, they're actually around and kicking, and maybe they're gonna pop up. Who knows? So it's just a very interesting world. And then the next 3 episodes, 2, 3, and 4, it's like, okay, that's case 1. And I'm guessing since it's 13 episodes, I think the formula is gonna be each
Every 3
case.
episodes a case.
I think it's gonna be that, or it's gonna be like the next 2 are gonna be 3 episodes, and then they're gonna like switch it up towards the end to have a finale that's multi-part. I don't know, but I think I was very happy with how they handled the mystery. It's not one of those like or like the detective part. It's not like one of those we have to surprise the audience, and like if they figure it out too soon, we're just gonna change things for the sake of changing it. It's like you get to the explanation, you get to the revelation, you're like, oh, I'm an idiot. I knew that. Like, it was obvious from the start, and then you immediately like, no, wait, never mind, it can't be that. And then it's like, oh, no, I was right. Oops.
Yeah,
one of
it's
those
not
things
like
we
they
got
pull
some
out random
Zaragoza
clues from
up
out of
in
their
here.
ass for no reason.
Yeah, it's like we got the Chekhov's gun.
Like
we got,
by
like,
the time that the reveal happens, like you have all the clues, and you could come to conclusion yourself.
Right.
you
Which
could.
is what a good mystery story should do.
Exactly. It's supposed to be like once you get all the facts and they tell it to you, you're like, I'm an idiot. I knew that. And so I appreciated that.
Or like Zaragoza, where where the answer is convoluted beyond belief, but in
I
a way
like that
that's
too.
funny.
Yeah. No, and it's also like, I don't know, I just really love. I had like an in-joke with my friend about how I would murder someone, and like they actually did the thing, and I was like, oh, that's fun. I didn't know they'd mention that, but I think it's fun. I think it's a fun little like detective show.
Yeah. So
And
the
I'm curious to
first
see how it goes on.
episode, the first episode's premise, since we've sort of skipped that, is that this dude is like half Oni, half human. Technically a little more Oni, but those are the fine details. The point is, he is not full human, and he is in this display with what is effectively cage fighting, but against monsters. And as he fights them, a little bit of his humanity and sanity gets stripped away due to the Oni
And he's like, yeah,
powers.
I'm cool with this. This is fine.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
his rationale, because his rationale is, when I am in that cage, I am surrounded by scum of the earth. So
If
when
I'm gonna die, I'm gonna take as much as I can with me.
which is
I
so
think he's the
so
good
based.
kind of edgy.
Raw?
That's how I describe him.
Yeah, he's like, when I turn into an Oni after losing my sanity, you know, like these people, they're paying to see some monsters get killed for no reason, right? Like they just want to see death and violence, and they're rich, and they're going against the law, and it's like, no, yeah, these are the type of people you maybe wouldn't want around. You got some of that light Yagami vigilantism, and it's an interesting character trait. I definitely liked that about him. And he meets this girl, or rather her servant, who has this head in a birdcage, and she's like, yo, I'm immortal, and my body got taken by the dude that turned you into a half Oni. And I need you to, well, at first she says, kill me, because, she just like me for real. But eventually, the main guy is like, that's the dude that turned me into an Oni. We're going to Europe, we're finding him, and we're getting your body back, and presumably getting the guy who did this to both of them.
Yeah, their dynamic is really what sells the show, I think. It gets more
The
fleshed out in
constant
episode
banter
2 or 3.
between them
The banter's great.
is fantastic.
I did enjoy the dialogue in this episode, although their dynamic definitely is still being fleshed out at this stage. It has potential, and judging from what you're saying, it does get fulfilled on.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm. And
I just think the editing is nice. The way it's animated, it's like the
some
fights
of
are pretty good.
the
It's kind of
okay.
fluid,
Some
but
of the directing isn't exactly what
liked
I
it.
would like.
I thought
some
it was
of the directing is a little
stood out.
Like some of the visualizations seem very over the top, but without much thought as to why.
Substance.
And like,
Yeah.
or like they don't look cool enough to justify the lack of substance. But the one that just bothers me on a personal level is the panels, where it's like you got a little square of the screen that is one character, then they edit in another and another. I absolutely hate that in any show it appears in. I don't think it's ever been done well to my memory.
Samurai Jack.
I have not seen that, but I have heard Samurai
Alright.
Jack goes hard with the visuals. But
Does. Can confirm.
It does.
yeah, but I did not like.
I didn't find it
how
annoying.
this
Yeah, no, I kind
show-
of agree.
Yeah,
I
it's just a
still-
little. It's like a visual that's trying to look cool, but it just doesn't have any oomph to it. It's just a square with a character in it. Where's the part that's supposed to capture me? What's the part that's supposed to be interesting or fascinating? It's just kind of
here's
thing that
something
happens.
interesting about the first episode. That entire first episode, unless it happens later in the manga, I did go back, I did read some of the manga up until episode 4 of the manga, to see where it differs, and that entire first episode is pretty much anime exclusive, unless later on it goes back and it shows all that.
I assume it's
that's all new.
Yeah,
I
I
have to believe
assume
it.
it's later in the manga, but pushed up front in the end.
But yeah, basically the manga starts and it gets straight into episode 2. And for reference, this manga is wait, hold the fuck up. It is not. Is it 12 chapters?
That can't be right.
No,
There's no
can't
way.
be
It's only-
right.
unless it's
it's
like
12
a.
volumes.
No, I don't know.
Why are you
Unless this
checking
website
that?
I'm looking at is outdated.
Probably.
I will say,
Hold
if
on,
you,
I'm gonna check a different website.
if you're not completely sold on what it looks like visually, it is directed by the same guy who did.
There are some interesting looking shots, I will say. It has a visual identity, and the animation and art quality is up to snuff. It's just
well, it's
that
directed by
some...
Kaguya-sama guy, so Kaguya-sama looked pretty good.
Yeah, and he did a good job with a lot of it. It's just some of the finer details aren't as hard sold as they are on Kaguya, I feel like.
That's true, but it's not A1. It's who did this one? Lapin Track.
This one's Lapin
What the
Track.
fuck is
I guess
Lapin
they're
Track?
kind of new. I've never seen anything they've done. They got like
I
8
think
shows.
they commonly help out with Mappa.
Nice.
I think there might be a subsidiary, or like they're very close to Mappa.
one of the Mappa outsources.
One of the many. Let's put it that way.
That's true.
But yeah, I enjoyed the first episode, and hearing it's a murder mystery does hype me up
This
a
is
little.
okay. So I think there's like 29 chapters.
29 chapters.
I
already?
think that's where it's up to. But this is also based off a novel.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is also a novel series. So who knows? Who knows how far it is?
They came out in
I need to-
2015, so it's probably
Undead Girl.
got some stuff there.
I'm sad that I missed out on possibly the best show of the.
I
Yeah,
really
lot.
enjoyed it.
Even if people are gonna say Zom 100, and I'm not gonna argue with that. This
argue a
one
little
is
bit.
the show for me.
I'd say Zom 100. I think had the better first episode. I think that's one of the best first episodes I've just seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
But I
that first
think-
episode is great.
With Undead Farce, like every episode just kept getting better for me. Whereas with Zom, it was kind of starting to stagnate. Still, like, as a good show, but it wasn't like every episode was the first episode. So I think overall, I'm probably, as long as if they just keep going on the same trajectory that they're going on now, probably gonna say Undead Girl Murder Farce is
If the quality
favorite
is
season.
kept up in the writing, this is the one
Right.
show. If you only have enough time for one show, I'm arguing this show.
Yeah.
But what a
big endorsement.
don't-
right?
Yeah. I wouldn't go
I
that
still
far.
say you should probably
but
check out.
I do want to watch.
The Boys
I
Are
want to
Realist.
watch more episodes of it. What
Dreaming
you've
Boys Are
said has
Realist could be-
convinced me that I'll like it.
I'll definitely have to watch.
This
it
show
after
is
the
only
podcast is
second
done.
to Dreaming Boys: A Realist.
Right.
Exactly.
And you can't
man.
surpass perfection.
It's true. That's why we
True.
didn't say that originally.
It
'cause-
is Crunchy's favorite show. We've already established this.
We've established this. I absolutely love the Dreaming Boy as a Realist. If you skipped past that segment to just hear this, you should totally go back to that because I explain in a lot of depth why it's the greatest show ever made.
Yeah, but is any of these shows better than Temple?
What a,
Oh, yeah,
what
this was
a
the show.
great title. Just the word temple.
I read nothing about it. I loaded up the episode, and not counting the opening, I think I got about 45 seconds in, and I said, "You know what?
This is the
I don't-
one.
I have to abstain on religious grounds. I cannot watch any more of this. It's gonna.
You're
it's,
probably right to do
it's
that.
just gonna be
Okay.
such a awkward
Yeah.
confession. I don't want to have to explain the difference between hentai, ecchi anime, and just normal anime to my priest. That's not a conversation.
If you go look at any anime and it's described as ecchi harem run as fast as
no,
you
I can't
can,
because
that
Monogatari
shit-
ruined that for me.
But like most shows, that isn't Monogatari,
Yeah.
and that's now the 7th time that Nisio Isin has been referenced.
To be clear,
I've been keep-
Cyber
I've been
Academy
keeping
is,
track.
is
You were
written by
keeping
Nisio Isin,
track?
if you didn't know.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
I've been
gonna
keeping
add to
track
that
this-
I'm gonna add to that counter just to annoy you because you're keeping
Okay.
track.
But I just want to say, ever since the first show of this block, that being Kenshin, I've been keeping track. We're now at 7 Nisio Isin references, just for reference.
8 now that I'm
Uh,
saying Nisio Isin again.
Anyway, I'm talking about unique reference.
unique.
It's not just.
We're on the 8th.
Um,
No, we're on the 9th show. What did we miss? We missed it twice.
Anyway,
Look it up.
if you see anything described as harem ecchi, run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, harem ecchi, yes. But what about if it? But I will defend ecchi when it's good, like interspecies reviewers. This is not one of those times. This is just a trashy.
So wait, like, what
harem
happens
ecchi
exactly?
show,
All I
except-
got to was like the guy, his father went to
I can
go get
tell you
some
what
Okay,
happens.
so this
milk.
show is
the
about the
Parodius
milk
well
was like-
happens.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is gonna the main kid who is like he's like, oh dad, you're so cool. He's like, because the dad is like, yeah, you know, son, having more friends is always a good thing, right? So by that logic, having more lovers is also like
You're
a
gonna
good
have like
thing.
a polyamorous.
I'm gonna go abandon
polyamorous
you,
harem.
my child, and I'm gonna go out and fuck a bunch
What
of women.
responsible parenting? This is
Andrew
parenting in
told them.
2023, guys.
And so, yeah, he abandoned his son so hard and chatted it up so hard that he turned his son into the ultimate
Interesting.
MGTOW. Yeah, he's like, I don't need women.
hold on,
I
I'll
don't
make
need a
it back into the show.
relationship.
Don't.
Yeah, he's like, if women ain't shit, I'm just gonna work. I'm gonna become a civil servant. I'm gonna make a lot of money.
on that grind,
and
okay.
I'm not. I don't need. Yeah,
While you were
I
out
don't need
there
any
flirting with those girls,
femoids
I was
coming
driving
in.
my Bugatti. Okay, continue.
Exactly. However, unfortunately, our boy he
damn it.
succumbs to the temptations of the
Oh my.
temptress. He sees one cute purple-haired girl, and he falls for her so hard he instantly loses his job and his grades slip so hard because he starts going out to mixers constantly. He starts like gawking at girls when they're running around a track in tight pants and hot pants, and he just becomes a total perv. And he's like, oh shit, okay, I've lost my way. I gotta get
Don't
back
lose
on
your
mission.
way.
And so the only way that I can do that is I have to become a monk.
Alright, hold on,
somewhere
back in.
where
I'm back
women
in.
aren't allowed.
No, get back out.
Where women aren't allowed. So I have to go to a temple and I have to just become a
Except,
monk. I'm gonna live as a
Oops,
monk.
it's not a temple. It's a nunnery.
Okay. Lovely.
So there's nothing
So he's
but
like, "Wait, what the f-"
women.
Nightmare moment.
And it as it turns out, after the obligatory round of him in a comical, hilarious misunderstanding, feeling up a majority of the girls there or seeing them in some sort of undress. He finds out that his dad at one point stole 20 million yen from the temple
What's
and
that, like
never
20
paid
bucks?
it back. So now,
Yeah, it's like an ice cube in a rubber band.
Gotcha.
yeah. So he in recompense, he's like, okay, I will. That's fucked up what my dad did. I will stay and work for you guys. I will I'll live at this temple and I'll like do all the physical labor for you guys until my debt is
Interesting.
paid.
Okay, so I haven't seen this show, admittedly, and it seems like
Are you
I'm
sold?
glad I'm glad I didn't. But
Oh.
like, why are you paying off your father's debt? That's his fault, man.
He's
Wait a minute,
very
wasn't there-
responsible.
It's
That's-
another show. The next show, right? That says, I swear there's a show in this block where there's a line that's uttered like, sons. Oh no, it was French. What was the one we just the thigh anime? The
Atelier.
guy-
Atelier.
The one guy said
Ryza.
to the kid, like, fathers are responsible for their sons, so naturally sons are responsible for their fathers. There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, that happens.
Just watch that.
The only noteworthy thing about this show is that the main character's voice is like super.
No, you're wrong.
deep.
The only noteworthy thing of this show is that it uses the Parodius wow.
Wow.
It does use the wow the anime like fairy
No, that's
tale cliche
Parodius.
wow sound effect
I
whenever
thought
we
it
see
was
a
Hunter.
Oh,
Yes,
is
it's
that where
from
it comes
Parodius,
from?
the Konami game shoot 'em up Parodius.
I thought it
No,
was from
it's from
fairy tale.
Parodius.
Well, today I learned. Yeah, they do use the
Very
Parodius
cool.
wow then. And I can only imagine it won't be the last time they use it.
They probably bought some sort of license to use it. They're gonna use it.
Yeah, so basically Temple's like, hey, if you thought what was it called last season? Cafe Terrace Goddesses was a little too highbrow for you. Was a little too classy, a little too mature. This
You're
is
saying
this
a lot
is the show
of
for you.
adjectives that are antonyms of cafe terrace goddesses. Let me tell you.
At least that one had the benefit of them being all in college and somewhat able to hold respectable conversations at times.
Not able.
And at least the
to
guy
hold
threw his weight.
respectable
At least the main
conversations.
character in that show threw his weight around, being like, "Hey, I technically own this place, and I will shut it down at any point if you piss me off. So fall in line or get the fuck out."
Hell yeah, based.
This one, he is just going to be subservient to the women.
I think
Very
this dude is
blue-pilled,
just
very
repressed. He
cringe.
should probably just jerk it and move on.
Do a little wisdom whack.
He is trying to block out the sex thoughts though, because he's trying to become the ultimate monk.
I think he
MGTOW.
just needs to jerk it and move on with life.
Jerking is what caused his downward spiral in the first place.
No, the issue is he doesn't jerk it because he thinks he's going through a downward spiral, but he's just repressed.
Why doesn't he just get married?
Maybe everyone's a pervert on the inside.
He just needs to jerk it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm fine now. Let's go on with my day.
But instead, his entire life falls apart.
He instead just
This
becomes
show
a
sounds
monk.
so stupid.
It is stupid. Don't watch it.
It's
Go
stupid.
play
Don't watch it.
Parodius, I guess, instead.
Go jerk off instead. It'll be a more
It
productive use
actually
of your
probably
time.
would be.
Yeah, that's it about that one. Who wants to take the masterful cat is depressed
I
again
did not
today?
get very far in this one. So
Sir, a
They
second
did the
go
same
hands hit the
start
seasonal
as the
podcast.
stupid glasses girl, because it's the same dude, same director. It's just like
yeah,
the
same director, same studio,
Yeah.
same ugly
continuous
color.
weird
Okay,
walking.
her office looks
This color palette's
yeah.
worse.
So her office looks like she is trapped in a jail cell, and there's dim lighting and
Well,
being.
that
It looks
sounds-
like it was like bombed with white phosphorus. It looks like like an Afghan Middle East, like what we
That's
imagine it
typical
looks
Japanese
like from Hollywood.
salaryman office.
it
the war out
just
there, man.
You think it's going to be
looks-
presented as happy?
Yeah.
What are you, fucking stupid?
Did you
It's
not
like-
watch Psalm 100?
I think Psalm 100 depicted it in a better color palette.
because it was trying to
This
trick
show's
you.
colors are so repulsive. Yeah, like
And yet again, the woman in this is also useless, just like Glasses Girl.
Redundant.
See, at least here, it's you can live through the fantasy.
Yeah, you can live through the
of-
white
well,
woman fantasy
now-
of living with an animal that takes the place of a man. I said it. I stand by it.
sure, that's who it's for.
Hey, and,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes when they're real lonely, they look at their
No.
cat and they're like, "Damn, maybe she can no, something."
no.
Bro, the protagonist of
Some of that
Inukai
pussy,
Sen's
know what I'm
dog
saying?
has got a new favorite anime. I'm telling you.
Oh.
They're
Oh,
sisters
no.
in arms.
Yeah, there's
At least, but this one's better than Inukai-san. A, because she doesn't actually fuck the cat, and B, because she gets drunk.
That's true.
see this show has the same thing.
And she wears these socks that don't have fronts for some reason. She wears like thigh-high socks that just have the front ends missing.
That is perplexing.
Wait, I didn't catch that. Oh, because I don't look at feet.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good save.
I only noticed it because
Oh,
of the
is
directing.
that why you're saying that's why you noticed the directing?
Yeah, because the shot of
I
it
think
was
the only
lovely
thing being
and it's like,
directed
oh,
is
are we
right
doing this
directing
again?
My eyes right to him.
I think the only direction was your eyes to feet.
I mean, there's not much else to look at. I'm not gonna look at the fucking
The
background
backgrounds are like
because
I don't understand Gohans. So these are
Lame.
like very poppy, simple slice of life shows.
more like stop
Yeah,
hands.
get your hands off. Because these should be like bright, colorful shows that just like make you feel happy. You look at it and you're like, wow, that looks like a fun summer day. But when you actually
oh god,
look
I'm
at
seeing
it-
the socks now. What the fuck is that? Who wears that?
right?
the backgrounds are like so.
It's like I want to wear socks, but I
No,
want to like
these are
deny
the
myself
foot
the
fetishist
primary
socks.
purpose of what socks are for.
These are the socks you need whenever you need
Exactly.
to bust out and shove it in someone's mouth, and you don't feel like taking them off. It takes too long. Those toes need to go in that guy's mouth. You can't waste time.
I mean, hey, it's
Or
easy
just
access.
have a hole. You need the access.
It's all about convenience. We're living in the modern age.
True convenience is a foot fetishist sock.
See, Gohan's directing for this show, and like it just has this knack of squeezing out all life from it to where it just feels so soulless. It feels like there's no pulse at all. This weird. Oh god, I'm like scrolling through the episode right now. There, at one point, the cat sits in like a super realistic sofa that looks like it's just a picture of a sofa, but it's not like a Shaft anime where it'd be stylistic. It's not like Bakemonogatari where it used the photos for an actual stylistic purpose. It's just thrown in there because I guess they didn't want to model a sofa. This show just has the worst visual style. Same with The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. All my points for that one carry over here.
Shout out to
not
that
much
scene
to
with
say.
I'm looking at it right now. The scene with the TV where it shows the cooking and it's just live action footage with some sort of filter going on.
It was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
What I took away from it was that the cat.
I'm glad it's not
pretty
CGI.
cute.
I'll give it that. My standards have been so jaded over the years, but like at least we didn't get a giant CGI cat.
Oh, but I am sad though that the cat doesn't talk. I feel like that was a perfect opportunity for some like fun
Really?
banter.
Okay, so I have the opposite take because he has like an internal voice, and I was like, I think you shouldn't have that at all. I think you should be completely silent. I think it'd be funnier that way.
Maybe I was just desperate for him to talk because just to be like, please give me a reason to like this show, so I don't have to so I can be distracted from the shit directing and the compositing and everything else about it. Because like this seems like a fun manga read.
Even that's a little far. It's just kind of nothing.
It's like one that's not challenging your brain too much. It could be like, hey, this is fun. This is like
more.
I could watch this cute office girl in
unchallenging
glasses
shows that I would rather watch.
I'm not even talking about the show. I'm talking about the manga it's based on.
Same thing.
I think there's too many good things out there. You probably don't need to waste your time on this.
Yeah, no matter what form.
And if I just want like a chill out one.
In terms of
you should read more things that make you miserable.
There we go.
One day I'll pick up Berserk.
Berserk is fantastic,
and then I'll join the Berserk fans when I get up to the point where Miura died, and now the story is just not the same anymore.
Everything will be fine. Nothing will go wrong.
Speaking of things, nothing going wrong. The gene of AI, topical in today's climate.
I also did not watch this, so oops.
Sad.
I only made it halfway through the episode.
I watched 2 episodes. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, so I watched the 2 episodes because I want it to be good. I wanted to like it. But it's just, it looks so flat. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
There's nothing really
I only
standing
watched
out.
the first episode.
Yeah.
Here's what I think would improve it. Instead of each episode being its own contained story, have each story take up 2 episodes. Flesh it out a bit more.
Yeah.
The presentation felt like flat and sterile for how admittedly
because
cool
like so the premise is basically that there's all
So-
these new humanoids that are like they're people with artificial AI kind of put into them and little Ghost in the Shell vibes, I guess.
Yeah, there are people who are like have allowed technology to become a part of their bodies even more so than like, oh, our smartphones
No, they're
are part of our
physically
bodies
integrating
because we have them all the
machinery
time.
into
It's like,
them.
yeah,
Right.
no, we're injecting our brains with implants so we can use
See,
VR
I like it
all
because
the time.
It's
even
like a
going as far-
cyberpunk concept.
And that's just
Right.
on the low end. That's just on the low end because there's some people who just have straight up cyborg
that's the thing that I
bodies.
like about it. It's like it's early cyberpunk. It's not like you're getting the full edge runners. People are just like super decked out. This time it's more subtle at the start. It's like
this is like it's just
right. And
entering
that's
the
an interesting
like consumer.
It's an
the
interesting time
consumer
period to
culture.
see like where it's changing and like I mean, kind of joked, but like it's true. It is a topical thing. I just really like the idea of like, oh, these guys, you can tell because their pupils are like slightly different. It's like, okay, that's nice and subtle. I like that. But I just don't
And
think the show.
the
I don't know. It's kind of aimless. I'm not really feeling it. It's not that fun to look at. It's Madhouse. What happened to you? It's I don't know.
the one bit of intrigue that like from the premise outside of that made me be like, oh damn, this or attached to a better show, this would make for like an interesting point. Is that one of the things about these humanoids is that you can make backups of people's personalities with the whole neural net thing, but that is strictly illegal because it's used for like crime and also can kind of make yourself immortal. But it's say, hey, you're making backups of your personality, super legal, not allowed to do it. The main character is a underground doctor who helps humanoids that try to fuck themselves up by making backups of their personalities for like a shit ton of money. But it seems like for these humanoids, in order to get them fixed, it seems like, hey, every time you make a backup of your personality, as long as you have like the original backup file and you load that back into the person, you like they should be fine, but they will lose the memories of like up until they made that copy of their personality. So in this case, in the first episode, he's helping this mom who has a cyborg body and a cyborg mind who tried to get a copy of their personality made a week ago. And so it's like, all right, I can fix you, but you're gonna lose your memories for up to the last week. And the dad at first is like, okay, yeah, see, it's only what's a week of your life of your memories compared to like the whole life that you've lived up to this point and the life,
Well, maybe
the rest of your life that you're going to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then even in spite of that, the mom is still kind of hesitant to be like, yeah, but like, what if I'm not the same person after a week? Like, what if and then it's like, even if that person loses just even so much as a week of their memories, is like, is the original person of that you've made the copy of that
I think
personality
this episode
is
would
that
hit
person
way more
now
harder
dead?
if it was the backup was a year ago.
I don't even think
But
it
yeah,
needed a
yeah,
year. I think
like,
a week was
was it-
too quick.
Yeah, is the person like dead now and we're just replacing them with like, are we, it's like the Star Trek thing where like no one in Star Trek actually
Teleported.
gets like
Yeah.
teleported from point A to point B. They get their bodies and minds
then
broken down on the
restructured
molecular
somewhere
level
else.
and then restructured somewhere else. Is that the same person or is that like a clone of yourself?
Yeah.
Well, in some episodes, it is used to straight up clone people.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's like a whole philosophical thing going on about that.
Never forget,
and
there's
that
2
would
Rikers out
carry me
there.
through the show, but the presentation is just so lifeless and like uninspired. That's like, I don't care. I feel I should care more than I should.
It's like
but I just
interesting
don't.
ideas. It's a very like provocative setting that's just open to so many possibilities, and it's like I just don't really.
But I wanted to
wanna
explore
watch.
those possibilities way deeper.
Yeah,
rather than a single episode of, oh, it's just a week. Who gives a fuck about a week?
yeah.
Like, it should have at least been a year.
I think the week thing could still work, but I think it should have been I don't know. I think it should have been more time dedicated to the family and fleshing out.
That's
other
what I'm saying.
characters.
It needed a second episode on this one story.
Yeah, and then episode 2 is kind of just like its own thing. And is episode 3 out? I haven't watched it. I assume it's its own thing too.
According
building
to
towards
the
a larger
description, this is like an omnibus series, so every episode is going to tackle like a different story.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I guess there's this overarching story about because the guy's mom was like taken advantage of by a corporation that cloned her brain or whatever, made an AI, illegal AI, and she's in jail now. I'm guessing he wants to fix that in some capacity. I assume that's what the finale is going to build to, but don't think I'm going to get there.
Neither am I.
Nope. I feel like these last two we can knock out pretty quickly. This was the other video game adaptation, based on a game
It
that's
is
not out
not
yet.
a video game
Synduality
adaptation.
Noir.
So
What do you mean?
this is Synduality
Mixed media?
it is a mixed media. It is a multimedia production from Bandai Namco, which is why Pac-Man showed up.
Let's go, Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Let's go. We love
So this is I'm guessing a series of stories. The anime is a different story than the game. The game takes place 20 years before the anime. Here is a diagram that I found. So yeah, the game takes place 20 years before, and to me this feels like the game was probably meant to come out the same time that this started airing, but with it being Bandai Namco, either one of two things. One, they said, fuck, Armored Core 6 is coming out next month. We can't release this. It will die. Or two, the studio was like, we need more time. Give us half a year. And they were like, okay, you're going to get half a year. So I feel like this probably should have came out at the same time, given the game chronologically comes first. And to me, that feels like a big issue because this anime kind of assumes that you know more about the world than you do.
I don't know. I didn't really get that sense. I felt like, I mean, sure, that is true, but I'm someone who loves keeping a lot of the smaller details in the background and just not focusing on them and then coming back to them later.
I feel like that's a thing that the game is going to be
Well, no,
like,
but, like, I
okay,
didn't-
you want to know everything? Here's like dialogue and messages.
I didn't feel lost in terms of like just watching the first. I'll say I'm all caught up. I watched all 3 episodes so far because I do like it. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. And I didn't feel like I was missing a larger piece of the pie. I felt more like this is something that had potential. Episode 1, I was like, this has potential. There's a big gaping problem that I have with it, but other than that, there's a lot of other things going for it. My biggest problem is really just like the petty elitist ill CGI. Why'd you have to do CGI robots?
I completely agree
Can
with
we have
both.
a mecha that doesn't have CGI anymore?
I
Nope.
agree with both
This
things.
counts as a mecha.
I did not dislike what I watched. However, I feel like I would appreciate it way more if I played the game first. So I would rather play the game first, and then if I liked that, I would come back to the anime. And yeah, so recently the trailer for the movie The First Slam Dunk came out, and that trailer shows, oh hey, 3D animation. Guess what? That shit could look fantastic. And then you watch this and you're like, maybe if it has a movie budget, it could look fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CG here is what
Well,
you'd
look,
expect.
all right. I harp on CGI, but I'm also like, it's not Overlord PS2 cutscene CGI. I think it's a
I
cut
feel
above
like
that.
I feel like the models for the enemy, whatever they are, were probably straight up ripped
Rendered,
out of the
right.
game,
Yeah, I think so.
which is
too.
why they stylistically look so different.
It's one of those things where it's like, I'm looking at the CGI, it doesn't look bad. I'm just thinking the entire time, it would look a lot better if it wasn't CGI.
It would.
And you can't really eliminate that. But I think like the show itself, I mean the 2D stuff, I really like the way it looks. It's got a nice shine to it. I like the way the characters are designed. I like the characters themselves. They're not exactly complex or anything. They're pretty basic, but I had a fun time, and I'm curious about where the story's going. My favorite character showed up in episode 3. I love the dude. Some random like accidental asshole, wanna be cool dude with shades shows up to the they eventually go to like this like Vegas basically. Guy's like, let's go to a brothel, make you a man. And he's just waiting in the waiting room. And the guy pulls up and he's like, oh, is this your first time? And he's like all like speaking high and mighty, like a royal man. And he's like, yeah, it's my first time too. Don't worry about it, man. It's very like deadpan. I thought it was interesting. And it's 24 episodes, so plenty of time to develop things. Not
Yeah.
gonna be like a
It's actually not one.
no, I think it's. I don't know. I think each episode's gotten better than the previous one, and I'm not unhappy. My complaints. I mean, like it's the Slime Studio, Slime Reincarnation Studio, 8-bit. They do good. I don't watch Slime anymore, but It was a time where I did.
They do good. I mean, they don't do good anymore, but they do good.
I
The thing that they're famous for.
yeah, but I
just
fell off for
of
the
it,
reasons
but-
that people like it. You know, I wanted more. I like it when people die. I like tension, conflicts. I don't like to know that everything can be washed away. The nice, happy, overpowered character.
Well, as someone who loves mecha games, I'm probably gonna play the game, so I'm just gonna not watch this until after that.
Understandable. Music's good.
Well, it's Bandai Namco, of course it's gonna be good.
Did any of y'all watch Ayaka?
I did.
I did.
Do any of y'all remember anything
I
from Ayaka?
remember that they ripped off the train from Spirited Away, driving over
Yeah.
the sea. I have a note here that says "drunk guys drunk." What else? I think they had like a CGI monster for a minute. It was
They did.
sad.
This is an original
Yeah,
story,
that was the
an
next
original
point.
anime story. So
I appreciate
gave it,
that.
I gave it 2 episodes. I wanted to be a bit more lenient because I want
Or
Yeah, I
more
only watched
patient
one.
man than I.
when it comes to an original story, I want to just be like, maybe this is gonna go somewhere. Who
Trust the
knows? I
plan.
don't. But and I gave it a second episode and I said I'm just not feeling it.
Anything interesting happen in the second episode, or is it just more the same?
Did anything
I
interesting
mean,
happen
They,
in the
the
first
they
episode has some
fight
episode?
another
ideas.
CG monster.
I struggled to remember anything, and I watched it today.
3
I remember
hours
there's a
ago.
drunk guy. I remember there's a
With the
volcano.
volcano, yeah.
I remember the dude is Percy
Yeah,
Jackson.
That's a thing. Oh,
They
there
basically
was a
fight
picture of a
another
real car.
CG monster in the
point.
name of training.
Yeah, I like how the guy has his powers activate like through getting in water, and then the first monster they fight is one that's conveniently made out of water, so he just gets thrown in there. But whatever. Maybe they're all made out of water.
No, I don't know. But there's just really nothing to keep you invested in this. Not that I've seen.
Yeah. Plus, I think visually, it's like, I don't know. It's not. It's weird. The movements, there's like not a lot of weight. It kind of feels janky. I think the designs are sometimes out of place. I don't know how to describe them. They're very. I don't know. I can't get a good sense of.
I
Uh-huh.
could explain it. They have anime designs, and everyone else, all the background
that's
characters
probably it.
don't. They win the game of spot the pro tag
Really?
every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it doesn't really hold a candle to.
I have
does
nothing
not
else.
hold.
To say. I have nothing
does
else to
not
say
hold a
about
candle
it.
to the Dreaming Boys Realist, but maybe it'll get better.
Yeah, I can only wish.
Yeah, like honestly, the
I
thing I
will
would
never
say is
know.
check it. Like look it up at the end of the season, and it probably won't get better. But if it does, then check it out. But I'm not really holding out much hope that it will. I think it'll be just kind of mid, nothing.
I think it'd be fine, but forgettable.
Yeah, fine but forgettable.
Just like the season as a whole, because
Hey,
now
I
we're
like
done.
a lot more than you
We're
guys
done.
liked.
We
I think.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was fine in this case, in the slightest.
I would say there were 2 shows that I could unequivocally call good.
I mean, there's a few more that
Well, as an Atelier fan, I would say there's at least 3 shows
I
I
would
would
say
call good.
that the first episode of Rurouni Kenshin remake was good, having not seen the original. But will I watch it? No, probably not. Honestly,
I would sooner recommend the
Yeah.
96
yeah,
Kenshin.
I would too.
it's just one of those things where it's like, in isolation, yeah, it's good, but I mean, even putting aside the backstory with the author, there's still better versions of the same story. So it's like, why? No, at that point, just why?
Why put yourself through the mediocre version of it?
Exactly. So yeah, all in all, just kind of a not really great season.
It's the second coming of winter.
Well, to be fair, we didn't get to
2023.
talk about some of the like.
Well, see, we didn't talk
Right.
about the sequels, but that are
Yeah,
the sequels.
I mean,
I'm loving Jujutsu Kaisen.
Every season has.
I judge a season on the strength
every
of its
season
new
has
shows.
sequels that people go crazy for and that I don't watch because I haven't seen the source material for it. or I've seen the source material, or not the source material, but the first season. Yeah,
The first
and-
season.
I was about to say, like, you don't really need to see.
And you know, sometimes I have seen it and just think, wow, that's bad though, so I'm not gonna watch the season 2.
Yeah, there were like 2, maybe 3 good shows this season out of like 25 plus,
Just a lot of mid.
and that's bad. That's a sub 20%.
Just a whole lot of mid.
Yeah,
this
not a
season.
strong season.
Yeah, last season was so strong, and it really got. I think it messed with my expectations, man, because I went into this excited and just came out defeated, especially after certain shows of peak fiction quality that just they're too peak for me, man.
We all know that Gokumi and Exus are in fact carrying this entire
Yeah.
season on their backs.
Hopefully next season is better. Please be better.
It's
Yeah,
anime.
dude.
It'll never get better.
All that's
It's true. We peaked.
all that's left now is to go around the room for the top 3 and bottom 3 shows of the season for each person. Who wants to volunteer
I guess
to start?
I can start, and I will, because I write it down as I go on. I'm not sure if you guys did.
Nope, did not.
Yeah, you can figure it out as you go on. So, my top 3 best shows. And number 3, despite it all,
Streaming Boy and the
Rurouni
Realist. We know.
Kenshin 2023. Because although I would not continue it for various reasons, it's still like, if you take it on its own, I can be like, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun first episode, and it was a good start to my binge today. Unfortunately, the rest of it did not go so well. And number 2, Helk. Helk is incredible. Well, maybe not incredible, but very funny. Very, very funny. And I have the sense that it's going to get really good. Because I've heard things about where the story goes. Well, not specifics, but just knowing that it becomes more plot focused as it goes on is enough for me to raise an eyebrow and be like, yo, that seems like a good show. And at number 1, you already know, Dreaming Boy is a realist. It is an absolute masterpiece in every conceivable way. The main character was incredibly likable from beginning to end. The main ship is out of this world. Think about any other ship in anime. It does not hold a candle to Dreaming Boy as a realist. Chef's kiss in every conceivable way. Now, my bottom 3, right? At number 3, we have my unique skill makes me OP even at level 1. Because that looked terrible. The main character was nothing. The dungeon was nothing. It all looked bad. And it's an isekai, so, you're already pretty much lost at that point. At number 2, am I actually the strongest? Because it's isekai, but taken to its absolute extreme. But like all the bad parts are what was emphasized. Like I can think of other isekai that take it to the extreme that are actually good. But then you have this, and it's like you just emphasized the worst parts. And also the fox girl's a nonce, and a pedophile, and every other synonym for that word, and I hate her.
No, she's a wolf girl. I remember that because I
Wolf
was like,
girl.
man, I'd rather be looking at Holo.
Nice
Glad for
Spice
the
Wolf.
correction.
Coming winner.
And
maybe.
at number 1, we have Zom 100. You think that was
Damn right.
emotional? You think that was a masterpiece? I say not, right? The main character was boring, the plot was boring, every single part of it was boring, the animation was garbage, worse than every isekai this season by far. It had no production value. I'm pretty sure it was cranked out in a week. The section where it just randomly They turned all the zombies CG, but very low poly for no reason. That was a bit perplexing. If you're gonna make a zombie show, at least make it look good, but they couldn't even manage that much. There was this one part where it was an explosion, and like, I swear it was the stock generic green screen explosion that you can get off of YouTube. It just looked terrible. Overall, Zom 100, do not recommend. It was just an atrocious experience from start to finish. And yeah, that's my list. Every single part of it was true. I believe all those things.
Keep going in alphabetical order. Culture, you're next.
All right. Well, best season, I guess we already said it, but I mean, I said it at some point. Undead Murder Girl Farce. Not Force. That'd be a different show. I really enjoy it. I love the characters. I love the world that's building, and it's the one that I'm just the most excited to watch week to week, even including the shows that we're not talking about for the block. I think it's something new and interesting, and I'm here for it. Afterwards, again with another one from here, I'm still gonna say I like Noir. I liked it. I know it's got its CGI problems, and you know. Even the fact that it has that and I'm still watching it and still enjoying it, to me, that's telling me subconsciously that it's a good show, or at least that it's something that's for me. Don't really have too much to say on it because we didn't really spend that much time. I'm just baffled by the fact that it's a 6.9 on Mal. I think it's better than a lot of the other things that somehow managed to get 7s on there. Not the Dreaming Boy is Realist, obviously, but some of the other stuff, I think it's better. And then for the third best one, I really can't decide between Helk and Zom 100 because they're both like Zom 100 again. I love that first episode and it's still fun. I still like it. But Helk is one that I have bigger expectations for, I think. I really want to know where it's going, and I don't have that many problems. There's like some minor things. I wish maybe they had more animation budget maybe or something, but like it's just fun and I want to watch more of it. I would have watched more of it if I didn't have to watch so much trash for it wasn't that much trash this week, but you know, had to catch up on things. So I don't know which one I want to put above there, so I'm gonna just like wimp out and put them both together. I think I might put Zom above Helk just for now, but with an asterisk. As for the worst, really hard to pick from. You could really just put all 3 isekai, or the 4. I can't remember.
There were a lot of isekai.
It was multiple isekai. You could really put all of them. I think the worst. I picked 2
There
of
were
them.
6 isekai.
Was it 6? Man, I must have just mentally blocked out some of them. Am I the Strongest? Yeah, actual just dog water show. Garbage. Could be meme potential. I don't know. Maybe we'd make the like the absolute state of isekai video. Just talking about that show in particular. They're all pretty bad. And the next one, probably The Great Clerk. I literally don't remember anything about it. I think he was a chef, and I think there was cross-dressing.
Honestly, if you told me to name which one was The Great Cleric, I could not tell you if it was the... Oh, wait, I just remembered. No, it's not the one where he's a chef. That's Sweet Reincarnation. The Great Cleric is the one where he was... he was into medicine. He was a doctor. I think he was a healer.
Yeah, he was a healer. He was a healer. Yeah.
Bunny girls.
Wait, no, was he? I don't care. It was shit. Who cares? And then if I can't even figure out which one it is, that's how I know it's on there.
Yeah.
Finally, last one. I'm gonna say it's Temple. Those 45 seconds, I'm never getting back. I'm gonna have to explain that one. It's a permanent mark on my soul, and I wanted to know that.
Yeah. We go into the confession booth with this show tonight. Let's go.
Real. Yeah, that's my list. Who's next? What's the alphabet?
I think I'm next if I know my alphabet right, and
I'll trust you for it.
All right, so for me, number 3 best list is as an Atelier fan, I'm gonna give it to Ryza. It is exactly what I wanted and was looking for out of an Atelier adaptation. And whether or not you think it's like, oh man, it's kind of like, you know, not the best show, it's like, that's fine with me. It's completely fine with me. Number 2 of the best, I'm gonna give it to Zom 100 because it is like visually it is a really cool show. It has a lot going on for it in that aspect, and in terms of characters, just their enthusiasm for life is infectious. Seeing them overjoyed about just normal things actually is refreshing. In seeing that, and the number one, I already said it. It's Undead Girl Murder Farce. It should be no surprise. I spoiled the ending. Anyway, number 3 of the worst is every single isekai. Number 2 for the worst
cheating.
is every single isekai. Number 1 for the worst is Am I Actually the Strongest as the worst of the isekais for leaving me legitimately uncomfortable.
Fair.
Don't fuck kids.
Okay, I actually have a story here.
You hear that, Watsky?
See, I guess I'm doing a bit of a pseudo spoiler because me and Neon do these like the Crunchyroll Awards thing where we say our top 3 best and worst of the entire year. And my original plan for it was to literally do a spinning wheel random generator of all the bad isekai and just do that. And just spin it 3 times as a gag. But now that peak fiction has gotten in the way of that and has actually disrupted my whole plan, now I have to put that as the bottom spot. It's awful. Basically, Dreaming Boy is worse than a bad show. It also ruined a very funny gag. I'm very sad.
All right, well then, for me, the bottom 3 worst, third, I'm gonna make it a tie between The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses and Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today, just for being... Gohan's really came out with 2 planes on the Twin Towers. That was the summer 2023 season.
Never forget.
I don't know what compelled them to think that they had to kill twice in a row, but
oh yeah, they're killing it with this
they
one.
were exercising some kind of demon.
Yeah, I think you said those were on the worst, but
second,
like, you just described the best. You want to back that one up or do another take?
No. I'm sticking by that one. The meme has run its course. Second would be Dreaming Boy, because I don't have as much vitriol for it as Crunchy does, but it was pretty bad. And the worst, I feel bad giving it to an isekai because I think I made it a rule in a number of seasonal podcasts ago to stop making the isekai the worst.
Well, maybe
one
they
'cause
should
it's
just
too
stop being
easy.
so bad.
Yeah, but I feel like am I actually the strongest? Cross the line in terms of how bad it could get. Because like at least shit like
it's genuinely amazing how bad it got.
My unique skill makes me OP is just like generic bad. This one's weird bad.
Yeah.
Because like I can't imagine that the oh let me fuck you as a baby is a one-time thing in terms of how weird and degenerate the show can
It is
get.
very amusing to me that all 3 of us, I'm pretty sure, had Am I Actually the Strongest? Very high.
It left a mark on all of us.
On our bottom list.
It was a bonding experience.
On our souls. Alright, as for the top 3, number 3 should probably go to... One of these spots should probably go to Undead Girl Murder Farce, but
don't succumb to peer pressure. Have your own opinions.
It'll be... I'll give it an honorable mention because
Never
I'll
think for
probably
yourself.
like it.
Absorb the
I can't imagine
opinions
I
of
wouldn't.
others and claim it as your own.
Alright, third best. This might be a controversial take. Level 1 Demon Lord and 1 Room
nice.
Hero.
That's a weird one.
I do find it... I've found it humorous. I found it was a injection of life in a sea of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And I would much sooner continue watching it than a majority of the shows from this season.
Fair, totally fair.
Number 2, Helk. Basically everything that I said about level 1 Demon Lord, but with the added benefit of it being a better show in comparison. and with the added intrigue of the Hulk fans being like, "Oh, dude, the story's gonna go places," and time will tell on that one. And then number one, obviously, is Zom 100. That one was kind of a lock.
I mean, a lock for everyone except me. I hated Zom 100.
How dare you?
As
Yeah,
we all know, famously, you wouldn't shut up about you. You would you repeat yourself
actual
several
worst show
times
of
in
the
your rant
season.
about it, how much you hated
Of the
it.
year. Of the medium.
Honestly, yeah, Zom 100 was just I don't even know what they were thinking with that one.
Makes me want to kick the bucket. Makes me wish I were.
Worst part is the show will
dead.
never die. It's undead.
Miyazaki was talking about Zom 100 when he said anime is trash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was definitely not implicating things like am I actually the strongest? He loves Am I Actually the Strongest? This is his favorite
Well, that was actually
anime.
the inspiration
I asked
for
him
Princess
last
Mononoke.
He based his whole career on that.
Yeah, I asked him last week.
Yeah, his final movie that just came out, The Boy and the Heron. Yeah, it's inspired by that and Dreamy
Yeah,
Boy.
it was also inspired by Morbius.
Morbin.
Well, all cinema.
Oh yeah,
inspired.
Morbius.
Well, all
is-
cinema
to
was
be
created by
fair,
Morbius.
Alright,
Morbius
what-
did sort of get the ball rolling on cinema as a whole, as a concept. So
Please tell me I'm not the only one here who actually watched that movie.
No, I did not watch it.
I watched it in a Discord call with friends as
Nice.
God intended.
Okay, I'm not the only one here who suffered.
we watch all the seasonal anime.
And
of
with
course, we
that-
suffer.
We're
Yeah,
all
and if you enjoyed
masochists
our
here.
suffering with us, viewers, please go ahead and like the video. Head on down to the comments. Let us know what you think of the summer season. What did you think? Was it as bad as we said it was? Was it better than we're giving it credit for? Sound off on your opinions. Let us know what you want us
If
to
you
cover.
like Zom 100,
on the
you're
Castaway
wrong.
Anime Podcast. You can find Keysmash and Culture Crusaders channels in the link below and on the title of the video. Anything in particular you guys want to plug? Any upcoming projects?
I won't plug my Twitter because I don't want Elon to know I'm back. But
All right, quit.
not
Oh,
quit
yeah,
tweeting
exactly.
Elon
Relax.
now. Tell him Cultured Crusader is back in the house.
a lot has changed in the week that we took to
True.
between episodes.
yeah, I got a video coming out at some point about some show no one cares about, a movie no one cares about. That just got a sequel. Took like 10 years to get a sequel, and now it's probably going to be another 10 years in between that to complete the trilogy. But you're interested in stuff no one wants to. If you want discounts Gamboli, then you can check me out. It's not.
Well, yeah.
Any project you got?
Yeah,
Keysmash?
I'm working on a video on a manga about a very popular thing. However, I don't know if the manga for it is very popular. I'm hoping it is, because then I get to rake in the views. But
Let's go.
yeah, it's I try to make monthly videos on things that I tend to like, mostly Japanese content, and yeah.
When is What About Atelier?
That is on the docket, but that is when I play through all the games.
What about ranking the entire
Well,
series?
didn't we just do that?
No, I meant like all of the games.
Yeah, no, like that is on the docket. That I'm serious about that.
Oh, you're gonna rank all the
Well, not
Atelier
rank them,
games?
just talk about them.
Just throw a number
And-
at the end and call it a ranking.
Yeah, and since I'm right here, I'm gonna say
I don't believe
that
in numbers.
I just
Fair.
finished a big Zaregoto video, and you should all watch it. You're all at gunpoint right now. You need to watch it, and you need to watch Cultured Crusader and Keysmash. But most importantly, me, because I'm the one holding the gun.
I
By the
did
way-
watch most of your most recent Zaragoza video, mostly for research.
Another Nisio we
Ah,
sent.
hell yeah.
Alley.
Oh yeah, now we're on 9.
Quick, what can we say to make it an even 10 before we sign off?
Katanagatari is good. Watch it.
It's true.
Or actually, I read it, so you
wanna
can
read it.
You can go read it.
I just watched it a few months ago.
Wait, hold on. I'll bring it on home with an opinion we can all share. Nisio Isin
Oh.
is overrated.
I agree. One of the people who is Nisio
Sorry.
Isin is probably
That is not
No way,
no.
one dude.
Sorry, Crunchy. Unfortunately, the podcast is ending and the screen's fading to black, so that we're gonna have to end up on this.
No, I will hunt you down and I will find you and I will kill you.